Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some sweet Wano action. As we're going to go into some tournament casting today, but no Wano League. That is still on hiatus until the end of September. But you can still sign up for that, guys. We have a couple of spots left open still, so get yourself into Wano League Season 5. We want to see you there. And yeah, I'm once more joined by Chlorid for some Defcon 2.
Hello, everybody. I myself am excited at getting to cast the Albion military base for once. We very rarely do get to see this map.
Yes, it's only in 2v2. It's not on any other game size. I believe there's a Destruction 2v2 version at least, but that's about it. And it's a gorgeous map, so it's a bit of a shame that there's never been a 1v1 recut. It's the only Wano map so far that has lavender fields on it, which I'm currently struggling to find, but here we have one. Beautiful, beautiful lavender fields, because obviously the French have to show up off with how beautiful their country is and how superior it is to German countryside. But yeah, they made it happen. The Albion map. The only good thing that came out of voting for 3.1, or was it 3.3?
3.2. 3.1 was the thing we were supporting.
Okay. But yeah, the Nemesis did get through, and this is the only good thing that came out of it. But we got it here now for this 2v2 game, and we have a pretty interesting matchup here. On the left side, two veterans of Wargame Red Dragon, Greyhound and Trista Command. A bit newer to Wano though. Haven't played as much as two other guys on the other side, Bloody Knight and Tata Boy. And those two might be some of the most active 2v2 players that I know. Because these two, you can find them a lot in 2v2 lobbies. So I think they are the favorites here, even though Greyhound and Trista Command have a couple thousand Wano or Fusion Games hours at least under their belt, and a couple dozen Wano hours at least as well. So should be a good game, high level, and we have some really interesting matchups here division-wise as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tatar Boy especially is one of the most active 1v1 players from what I've seen, constantly playing against him, constantly playing against T-Man on stream. And Bloody Knight, of course, is a league veteran and has graduated from the Wano League Academy, basically, and has become a pretty permanent fixture around the place. And I would say about the Fusion Games transferability of skills is that Wano especially, and all of these games, these are games of knowledge, of information, of having enough of an understanding of what works and what doesn't, knowing the maps, knowing the unit interactions, knowing the proper series of buys, proper counters, and that is something that you only really can learn via playing. Even though you do have a core group of mechanical skills of controlling, of smoking, something you could learn from StarCraft or Red Dragon or something, the inherent amount of knowledge you have to be top level competitive or high level competitive with Wano, it doesn't automatically transfer from Red Dragon or Steel Division.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that we have a Munitia Depot here. That's 2v2 from you. That's something you will never see in 1v1. In 2v2, it's relatively common to have one of those, as RD spam is part of the game here. And on this map, absolutely viable as well if you can get a decent opener. And there we have two sides without any forward deployment. So it's just a normal deployment hitting each other. And there is one division in here that is particularly good in 2v2, I think, and that is 6th Motor Strelki. Like, its main weaknesses are that its infantry is a bit small and that its tanks are not the most cost efficient. But cost efficiency is not that key in 2v2, and it has one of the best support tabs in the game. It has amazing artillery, it has amazing anti-air, and it has great air superiority fighters. So 6th Motor Strelki is one of the best division you could pick for 2v2s, and it does work really, really well here.
Yeah, it also has these Mi-2 Earn helicopters. These things have become more popular with the Polish and the Czechs, but 6th is one of the few Soviet divisions that actually runs these things. They're really good at filling gaps. Even if something goes through behind your lines, You don't have to invest the whole 150 points for a gunship. You can just send these things to eliminate singular enemies. They have enough ammunition to face down a few foes, or to use them as quick fire support for an infantry fight. It's something that you don't really appreciate until your teammate keeps sending them and just automatically winning you fights. And in Tatar Boy's case, we're seeing 3 Mi-2 Urns actually going and playing pretty aggressively, flying past Dimitri and trying to cut off reinforcement roads here. The reinforcement roads on both sides of the southern area of Dimitri and Elena are very badly covered. So if you can actually get into these buildings on either side, either next to the runway or the warehouses on the left side in the middle of Dimitri and Elena, you can get it. It's a huge task to break through those, considering the terrain. So, but you would expect both sides either to completely just not even try to fight for this, go and try to get a penetration victory, or getting into Boris or center, or then fully contesting the northern 2-point zone of Anna. We have seen that play as well in 2v2s. I have seen it at least, but here we are seeing Greyhound playing Berlin Command and going basically all in, massive investment of infantry, of tank fire support vehicles. Everything is going to try to secure those 2 1-point zones. And we will see if that's going to be the greatest choice, considering the investment on Tatar Boy to that area is significantly weaker, meaning that Tatar Boy here opening up with 2 MiG fighters and probably has a bunch of other, especially considering the great fighter bombers that they get. Great price, great value fighter bombers for 6th. Now, the new division that we have not commented on, the CLKA, which is the Dutch infantry division, it is technically a reservist division, but it doesn't play like one. It is a pretty standard infantry division. Some people will say that it's underwhelming. I personally like it. It is kind of mediocre, but it has some few key units, and I think it is especially good as a counter to infantry divisions that are just slightly lighter than it. It gets a 1 card of Leopard 2s, which is
2s now. It gets 2 now, and there is a big thing in this. Like the thing in this tournament is there you get 7 bands on the enemy, and with 7 bands you can get rid of all the heavy tank divisions on NATO's side. So NATO only has a couple divisions that still have heavy tanks left, and CLKA is one of those with 4 Leo 2s on 1 vet, or 8 on 0 vet. Never do that, by the way, unless you are a really, really good player and know what you're doing. But yeah, Leo 2s from 2nd Panzer Grenadier and CLKA are basically the only heavy tanks that you usually get in this tournament. So CLKA will be showing up a lot in Defcon. I played it myself successfully as well, because the division has all the fire support as well. It has IHawks, it has M110, 203mm artillery, good bombers, and a decent infantry tab next to the Leo 2A4s and Leo 1Vs, which are pretty good as well.
Yeah, one of the key units of the CLKA is the commando units, which, unlike its name, is not a forward deploying or recon unit. It is actually a security unit. It's a really good anti-infantry fighting squad. Doesn't have great great anti-tank, but just in straight up infantry fights, it can spot and it can fire them. Oh, the T-80BV up north getting a really good hit against the Leopard 1 leader, preventing the Leopard 1 leader from getting close. And the Pratt here is going to be all alone, and it's spotted and targeted by all the Soviet weaponry here. Trista commands attack up north, not going that well. There are still infantry pushing out, but nothing realistically to fight off that tank. So it's really just going to be laying siege on Anna and trying to get units into better positions. Down south, we're seeing the fight emerging. Light rifles with the recoilless rifles basically acting as anti-infantry weaponry. The recoilless rifles can be fired very usefully against infantry. Tatar Boys, Spetsgruppe A are in a perfect position. Close quarters weaponry, satchel charges to get the damage done. But with enough fire support here from Greyhound on 0 vet Rarden, British Rarden pseudo IFVs, as well as the M1 IP Abrams, kind of holding up and keeping up a certain level of fire support here. Now, Greyhound already investing heavily into artillery, which is more common, of course, in 2v2s. getting 2 of the 155mm howitzers, accidentally maybe selling one of their trucks. And these things are going to be semi-randomly targeting the buildings around the place. And considering how the fortification of these large halls down south is going to happen during the fights, these things can maybe starting the scaling early, starting the value gain early, can actually be very, very meaningful, because now Tatar Boy seems to be committing pretty solidly into fighting for this area.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the north, we have a bit of a real line action here from Trista Command, with some M113s trying to go deep, not being able to kill the BMP-2 frontally though. So that push up there, not working out so well just yet. New CV coming up though, they have the artillery, and we have the first Nighthawk out there. Let's see if that can get any important kills, but the enemy obviously has planes around as well. MiG-21 cluster, one of the most amazing bombers in the game, that can swing even Warner League Grand Finals, coming up around there. Well, it's in the south, the M1IP moving around still, but tries to avoid getting shot. It's 0 vet, so it can't really take the damage, but that means that it didn't really do anything.
No! It was a dodge. Okay, they got the leader. The BMP-1, there was a potential for a massive cluster there. The F-16 cluster was going to accidentally get so much, but it just barely missed. So far, Nighthawk still standing behind, and more MiG-21s and 29s are pushing out.
Cluster in the south now. That's a dead M1 Abrams. M1IP goes down, and there's nothing here to deal with the cluster. That's a bit of an issue here of Berlin Command. That division has pretty limited AA capabilities, and the fighters in CLKA are all non-long range as well, so you can't really deal with the MiG-31s. You can't even deal with the MiG-21 clusters at this point. You need the iHawks, which you get one card off with CLKA, but yeah, you desperately need those, and they are not around right now, meaning that those MiG-21 clusters of the 6 Motostrelki can do a lot of work here.
Yeah, early investment into the artillery instead of iHawks is kind of what is the opposite of paying off? They are reaping the artillery scaling instead of the AA scaling here against 6 Motostrelkovaya. So far, a Bloody Knight seems to have everything completely under control up north. There is now a Leopard 2A4B, and Leopard 2A4B is 0 vet, up-vetted by the command tank, and the Leopard, the T-80BV ISD-29 coming in here with upvets, as well as supported by these heavy cluster bombers. Heavy cluster bomber taking out the Leopard 2A4. Yeah, so far Greyhound is asking for help up north. This seems to be a failed investment here. Instead, probably should be moving their troops somewhere else, secure a perimeter, get out some ATGMs and some recon, and then just start attacking a different position.
Yeah, Nantes coming around north as well, trying to get around there. JP-40B going down. M113CV consider getting brought in there once more, but the infantry fights of Trista in the north so far not really working out, and the Leo 2A force getting dealt with, that's pretty painful. We have the Nighthawk falling back there right now. We have a slight push here in the south, but the MiG-29s and MiG-21s holding the sky pretty clean here so far, and the combined arms here not quite strong enough for Greyhound to really get any damage down here. The artillery so far not really gaining its value. Trying to get rid of some Retretka right now, but finally we see some iHawks in the north. We've seen some more tanks for the south, MX-30s and M1IPs, but by this time period now we have T-64 BVs in good numbers on the other side, T-55s and a Rapira. So breaking through this will be tough, and the north is just under pretty good lockdown by Bloody Knight. Pushing forward now to get rid of that Leo 1V that went into the zone, got rid of a couple of BMP-2s, but Motostrelki is now really close, and they should be able to get through this quite quickly.
Yeah, talking about the bans, if just quickly, why do you think that 79th was left open? 79th is one of the most solid divisions in the game right now.
I'm not sure. Like, both of these divisions are bannable in this tournament with 7 bans against the Pact side. So I'm not sure, but yeah, it seems like a oversight there, leaving 76 open. Not
Yeah.
sure what else they might be worried about, especially about a map like this where you have a lot of open terrains. Like, tanks are pretty powerful on this map, especially
Yeah.
once you achieve a bit of a victor, maneuver warfare and can break through. Like, tanks are so essential for these open spaces. And yeah, the north is just now getting completely rinsed here. BMP2 is holding that spot quite nicely, and the commandos and Nantes are just not the solution right now.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been invested by Berlin Command down south as well, but the AMX-30s are getting tagged by these B-62s. They were not microed away. One of them got killed, one of them got routed. Meanwhile, T-55s, upvetted T-55s, no, actually vet 1 T-55s, just getting some free damage done here. Sapri RPOs are out there in the front line fighting against the zero-vet infantry. The T-64s are largely unmolested. Artillery has been firing and has been getting some pretty good hits in, but so far Greyhound's only response here is to invest into more tanks, getting 2 M1 IPs. And M1 IPs are good tanks. They're great against T-55s, of course. They're great at fire support because being Abramses, they get so many machine guns. And they also have great armor, so they can resist the weaponry of even the T-64s. But on zero vet and just largely unsupported by heavy anti-air, it is risky putting these things out there. They can be easily they can be suppressed by helicopter missiles, by any other missiles. Really, there's a bunch of stuff out there, and Greyhound's front line of these zero vet light rifles, even though there are the possible spec ops there as well, just doesn't seem to have the edge to actually crack this. But there they're going. Attack is happening now.
Yeah, the CV in the south got at least sniped by the artillery. Artillery advantage for now on the left side, but we start to see some Giacinths, we start to see some Acacias coming around on the side of the Pact players as well, and they are having just such a stranglehold on the north right now, and the Trista command has the issue now of CLKA not having any IFVs. The only autocannons you get are a couple of M113s, and they already lost a good couple of those. So dealing with the BMP2s is kind of down to tanks, and you don't get that many of the heavy ones, which we already saw some going down as well. And the others, going through an open field against Conquerors with Leo 1s is not really the solution either. So it's really, really tough to get back on this map once you get pushed out of Anna. Meaning that I feel like Trista should have swung south as well and tried to help out there to at least get that first, and then maybe do a consolidated push towards center. But they keep on hammering away units in the north right now, and that is a big issue for the blue team right now. As I think the fight in the south is actually going pretty well here. Greyhound gets the snipe on the Book. That's a nice one. The infantry fights here are going okay, but the north is just not holding up so well, and that is a big, big issue for the blue team.
Yeah, Greyhound has sent this Fox there to do recon, and the Fox could at any point move up there and spot basically the entirety of Tatar Boy's force. Problem is that a Conquerors would, of course, avenge and take out the Fox immediately. Now the M1 Abramses have been following the Fox here and trying to move into the southern swing, and that's probably a pretty decent choice. By the time the Conquerors gets revealed, artillery can target it, and it doesn't really have a place to move there.
Yeah, artillery coming in onto some Conquerors in the middle now as well. The Ratretkas, they're likely going to go down as well. There we go. Seed plane coming around once more, dropping its bombs and also trying to fire some seed. MiG-21 is behind it though, and we get a kill from a Book from the far rear, and Nosh kills here on the MiG-21. So might even find the Nighthawk here now. Yes, it does. Mistral's having to reload, but seeing the Nighthawk means that the Books can fire on it as well. Even the ZBU-4 there might be able to finish it off. Loses line of sight now as it goes out of line of sight. T-64 gets killed by the Nighthawk, and the Nighthawk barely survives. so it will be out for a long time. And one M1IP goes down on the ground. One T64 got killed on the other side, but the M1IP is here just not quite holding up. Super stressed out now. With the leader close by, that at least will recover a bit quicker, but as you said earlier, like having them at 0 vet is such a bad choice, especially for M1IPs in my eyes, because they come through their long drawn-out firefights because they don't have the best damage output, but they have good survivability. So you want to have them in drawn-out fights, and that's where veterancy is key, and they just can't do that on the 0 vet.
Yeah, and Bloody Knight is just going through here, fully scaling up into masses of BMP2s, bunch of infantry holding the front lines.
Leo 1AVs in the north get caught out without any recon, driving into Spetsnaz and Motostrelkis. Luckily for them, it's the ones with the RPG-22s. So they, at least only one of them goes down, but all of them heavily stressed out. Leader nearly dead as well, and they have to fall back. So the blue side still struggling in the north. The southern fight is going better once more. T-55 is getting taken out. And when IP has to be careful, goes down to 1 hit point here. Needs to disengage out of there now. Gets its tracks broken though. But the Milan 2s from the side here keep on doing a good job. Keep on hitting the enemy hard. And this is a good trade here so far in the south. Cluster artillery coming in towards the north as well. Trying to snipe the enemy Acacia. That could work out too. Good hits there. First hit immediately on top of it. Issue with the M270 cluster is that it is a bit RNG, but there you go. Gets the Acacia. So those are big victories. You want to take out the artillery in 2v2 games. And the southern fights here are pretty good as well. But in this north, Leo 2A4 goes down. The other Leos get pushed back. And there's just maybe a bit too much Bloody Knight at this point, as Bloody Knight is going towards Sheraton right now.
Yeah, the Trista's tactic of sending in these tanks with no support, only a single Eyehawk to cover them, no recon, and sending them against this combined armed force has meant that the helicopters can just start out engaging them, suppress them down, and then the T-80s and BMP-2s can just basically gain free ground. Bloody Knight is very methodically abusing the options that they are given, being a 79th player with the initiative 20 minutes in. There's a lot of stuff you can do. 79th, of course, gets the only packed tank that is capable of maneuver warfare. This is the IZD-29, and all the rest of them also get a bunch of T-80Bs, T-80BVs, good tanks all around, great rate of fire, good missiles, but significantly slower than the IZD-29s, which also get a free veterancy, which in practice means they get to shoot first. And if the enemy happens to have 0 vet main battle tanks, that first shot is going to significantly affect the first shot accuracy or the shot accuracy and rate of fire of the enemy MBT. The aiming time reduction might not seem much, but it is you reliably, if they spot each other, the Soviet tank fires first.
Yeah, good hits with the Nighthawk there though earlier. T-80BVs and BV got taken out in the north around Sheraton, so no heavy tanks right now for Bloody Knight, only now T-80BV IZD coming in. So there might be a bit of an opening here, but the tanks of Tristar are still out of position to the north. Only one Leo 2A4B here, getting close to a Motostrelki once more, so I feel like the Sheraton point is going to be hard to recapture. They have the artillery advantage now. They should go harder into this. I would love to see Tristar Command getting some more 10s here now at this stage as well. And then just try to clean it out with fire support alone. We see an M109 from Greyhound here now as well, next to the 155mm. So they for sure go that way a good bit. And Greyhound did a good job sniping enemy CVs in the south now. Did kill a lot of vehicles there, so the vehicle count on the side of Tata Boy currently pretty limited, limiting Tata Boy's aggressive potential here. But cluster bombers still around. AA defense here still a big issue, and another M1IP bites the dust because of it, as no Eyehawks around in the south, meaning that Mistrals alone have tried to do the air defense, and they just can't hold up against these kind of planes.
Yeah, the artillery buildup of the NATO forces here seems to seems to keep going. The cluster artillery is firing against the Hyacinth, but artillery cannot fight a mobile force that is attacking you. It just can't. Bloody Knight has, I've been using the co-caster tool basically to watch and see how the vision, spotting ranges, and recon of these teams is going. And even though down south there's been a bunch of stuff where Tatar Boys units have been very vulnerable, up north, complete packed supremacy. Bloody Knight, the Spetsnaz crews, the BRMs, the infantry out there, this Trista's, every single of Trista's counterattacks is basically spotted early on and responded to.
Nighthawk coming in again though. Nighthawk, not getting hit, losing line of sight there. And it goes down. Really unfortunate. SU-22 cluster on the rear gets the the cluster bomber gets the MLRS system. Oh god, this is a disaster right now. 2 important losses here for the blue sides. The artillery comeback was kind of relying on that, and Trista hasn't bought the MR10s yet, so this ammunition depot is an overinvestment here. It shouldn't have been bought. Those 175 points should have gone somewhere else. If you don't go hard artillery, then don't buy that thing. And yeah, they should have gone harder artillery, I think. It could have been the way to break the north instead of throwing away infantry into it. Like, in 2v2, you have to be really decisive with your infantry positioning and don't just move infantry around. There are too many vehicles that will just eat them up and you will just hammer away points, even more so than in 1v1. And artillery is king in 2v2s. Like, we learned that the hard way. I play in this tournament as well with the lovely Stahlbrecher. Our games are on the YouTube channel as well. I cast them as full-on videos. So if you want to see me playing there, check those out. And yeah, those are some tough games sometimes, and you just need that heavy artillery. But currently, not even the heavy artillery is really saving the situation here for Greyhound and Trista, as there's just too many vehicles here now for Tata Boy and Bloody Knight, and there is not enough anti-vehicle power here left standing on the left side of the battlefield.
Yeah, it's really just opening up your main force that you're going to be using in fighting. You're going to be most certainly like getting these units under fire. Those units should not be 0 vet. If you have any Veterancy 1 units in your deck, you're going to be buying them because those are going to be the most crucial battles. You can't afford to have your stuff routing when they need to be doing that little bit extra. And if you are taking if the tank that you're going to be relying on this and you're taking them on 0 vet so that you can maximize the number of technologically superior tanks to your opponent, then you really are just wasting the technological superiority, because even if your armor holds, if your crew doesn't, then the armor is just going to rout and offer itself up for side shots or bombings, or just move away. And Trista's up north, really, 79's opener, so powerful. There were a bunch of like pretty decent opener, I think, from Trista with the CLKA, but they really should have just like known about the standard 79th. The standard 79th, there's probably going to be a BRM, there might be a Raspetka BMP2, there's absolutely going to be a T80. And if you're going to, that's an open area up north, it's a 2-point zone. That's where the tank division is going to go, unless the tank division is going to push mid. The middle was kind of over-defended on the NATO side and completely under-defended on the Pact side, which meant that from the very start, the points advantage of the guys that were out there on the front was on the Pact, because they didn't buy the munitions depot and they didn't buy the, frankly, at that point, kind of needless extra defenses, or, they took the risk of not fortifying their center position. And yeah, Veterancy 0 units, they are good situationally. You want to use them in defensive tasks, in supporting tasks. You don't want them to be holding the center of the line. Just a standard Motoschützen unit, Veterancy 1 Motoschützen unit, 7-man squads, 2 machine guns, 45 points. They have the Resolute. At that point, they are so far above the light rifles, if you don't count the recoilless rifle support. They are so far above the light rifles that they can just reliably, in standard infantry combat, rout those units. And we're seeing Tatar Boy right now is just a bunch of like wounded squads of Motoschützen out there in the front because they managed to push through all those light rifles.
Yeah, and we are now on a +4. This game is not going to last much longer. The 2,000 points inside, and oh no, it gets even worse here. MiG-21 finds another hit here, and we got too few tanks played, too few tanks of veterancy played here on the left side early on. The Leo 2s are best used up in pairs as well, because with their frontal armor, they're relatively vulnerable still. Only 60 frontal armor for a heavy tank, so you usually want them to one-shot whatever they shoot at. They have great accuracy, great good rate of fire, and great penetration, so use them in pairs, then they usually 2 or 3 shot the enemy, and then you can just go from there. But that's not quite what's happened. MiG-21 cluster finds another kill here, and it's a bit of a troublesome situation here, and I don't see a way out at this stage, as there's just a red menace here now on the battlefield, and the airfight's not going to end up well here either. F-16 comes in, gets one MiG-21, and then gets absolutely blasted, as Bloody Knight even gets more CVs up in the north. The tanks got controlled well by the Nighthawk. The Nighthawks really did fantastic work here for Greyhound, but that's kind of about it. The rest of the gameplay here off ground in the south was solid, but it didn't really swing the balance in the south either. And at the same time, Bloody Knight really took advantage of the north and got the game home that way. So GGVP here, and yeah, in the end, Bloody Knight and Tata Boy coming out with a really strong win here, and Trista Command's positioning there just a bit off, and then once you're out in the open, you can't come back easily on this map. And yeah, Trista tried and got punished for it here in the KD.
Yeah, and just like a good rule of thumb, every single time you're playing against Sixth, 100% of the time, there's gonna be a MiG-21 cluster bomber. If you just one-shot that thing with a Kube missile or an IHawk missile, that's almost a minute's income done. You have judo thrown your opponent and their MiG-21 out the window if you just pre-buy the IHawks. Don't buy them after those things have stopped your own momentum. Don't buy them after you have lost tanks and need to instead spend those points in replacing the tanks, which will then, of course, get taken out by MiG-21s because you didn't buy enough IHawks.
Yeah, and 6 Motostrelki 79th is really one of the best combos for 2v2 in the game. And as I said, I'm a bit surprised to not see it being banned, as yeah, it's just like neither of the divisions being banned, as both of those divisions are arguably ban worthy in this tournament with 7 bans for Pact. So yeah, will be interesting to see what we gonna see next game, as it will be switched around. Pact will be played by Greyhound and Trista, and Blind Knight and Tata Boy will have to play NATO. That's how it works in the tournament. And I think Trista and Greyhound are better on the Pact, as they are more familiar with those divisions. So it's going to be interesting to see what we will get there. So quick break, guys, and then we're going to be back with game number 2. So here we go again. Game number 2. Bloody Knight and Tata Boy up 1-0. And just like in 1-0 League, the group stage here functions with best of 2s. So you can get a draw in here if you win game number 2. And that's what Greyhound and Chista Command now strive for here with the packed side. And I'm a bit surprised because we see the 6th Motostrelki Brigada and we see 4th ZMAC. And expected Greyhound to play Czechoslovak division. As you can see, he is Czech himself. And it's one of the main reasons that he started playing Wano again, I believe. As the Czechoslovaks just got entered into the game. And yeah, surprised to not see him on them. But on the other side, Bloody Knight and Tata Boy with 2 of the most basic divisions. And I'm a bit surprised 8th US made it through the ban, because it's one of the few M1A1 divisions and it actually gets quite a couple of them. So usually you ban them to not give the enemies M1A1s. Second UK, not as dangerous in 1v1 as it is in 2v2 as it is in 1v1, as it doesn't bring as much forward deployed potential, but still not a bad division here. And still at least has a couple of challengers, though only one card there. Really the M1A1s and the M1 normal M1 base that the 8th US can get is the more scary part here, meaning that NATO actually has the heavy tank advantage here. As the T-64s and one T-80 card that Motostrelki gets is miles a bit weaker than the units that 8th US can bring around, and that means you have to win through other means here as the packed side.
Yeah, I mean, 8th US, would you say, I would probably say the heaviest infantry division. It is largely even an armored division, heavier than some armored divisions, even considering the amount of tanks and just support equipment and it actually gets. But the thing is, 8th US's weakness is in tempo. It has very powerful fundamentals, but it lacks the kind of stuff that it lacks some of the tools that people use to win games, especially in 1v1. Of course, 2v2 is a little bit more flexible in that regard because you can rely on your teammates, but it is possible to just play around 8th US kind of like honking on its silly style. You know, you just get some honkers out there, you're gonna honk all the way to the bank, and you're gonna stretch the enemy thin. You're gonna remove some of their key units, which in 8th's case is some of their units because all of them are so expensive, and then suddenly you have gained a tempo advantage that the 8th is gonna have to face down, basically like scaling up and playing like an armored division. The Forge Mech, one of my favorite divisions in the game after you promoted it, basically, and I realized that it's hilariously strong, but people, because it is so low tech and so reliant on going at its silly style, so to speak, being creative and being aggressive and abusing the efficiency of stuff instead of the hard factors of the stuff. I think the Polish have a chance here. I mean, this is obviously the build up here has been taking 11 minutes. There is still a 6th Motostrelkovaya here, which means that Trista can keep on keeping up the MiG-21 cluster tradition, and those things are pretty good against the M1A1s, as we saw against the IPs. Now, Bloody Knight is opening with a single Chaparral. Chaparral is not a radar AA, which means that it takes significantly longer to aim, which means that even if it gets a shot out, it will not one-shot the MiG-21, and it's probably going to get the shot out after the bombs have dropped. Now, Bloody Knight also is taking and putting an Eyehawk in the middle, as you're supposed to, but that Eyehawk is... It's not something that it's not impossible that thing just gets early artilleried at some point, opening a window for air attacks. Now the honkers are honking all the way to the crossroads next to Bravo. They're going to be meeting, say, the SAS, and the Gniewosh support helicopters are going to run away, because the SAS, of course, excellent anti-air units, taking out one of the Neovoshes there. Honker Russes opening fire on longer ranges, British sniper counter-firing. This is not a fight which the Poles can win straight up. They're going to wait for some reinforcements, but they've spotted a pretty huge investment of points from the British onto Bravo, and what they will do with that information, I don't know. I actually haven't seen a single game on this map yet, so I'm quite excited.
Yeah, it's also in the 2v2 cut relatively defensive, so I think ATOS works better on this map than on some others because there is no map zone in the center of the map. They are all tilted towards one side or the other, so you have to push into the other enemy's half to actually start getting a take on here, and that means the honker advantage here, getting you faster to the middle, is not as big of a deal, and they're getting pushed out by the SAS now. The others are pushing forward, but M150s helping out there as well. M1s are nearly around, and there are a couple of defensive units here from Trista, but no T-64s or anything like that. So it seems like the red side wants to play it a bit more defensively as well. Ooh, F-111 LGB actually getting a kill there, and the MiG-31 missing all its missiles here. Classic MiG-31 situation there, as the base accuracy of that missile is 40%, so with ECM taking away even more accuracy there, chances of one hitting are actually relatively low.
Yeah, the Bloody Knight has some rangers waiting, holding the corner of that middle town. It's going to be facing some Polish commandosi, up-vetted 2-3 vets, quite interestingly, as well as some Sapersi Sturmovi with the RPO RIS flame launchers. And the Polish Spec Ops have actually retreated here, and the British scouts are getting taken out. Honkers going in for the kill, trying to remove an infantry unit, but not taking the risk of actually getting into SAS AT weapons range. And Greyhound here is... Greyhound and Trista are kind of just trying to play around the SAS at this point. They can't use their helicopters to secure them. They can't fight the SAS on close ranges. Very few things actually can. So it's kind of an interesting case of the Pact here is trying to scale, but their opponents, the British, have not run out of tanks or good infantry, so they can just buy them alongside artillery. Bloody Knight already having an M110 on the board, a Rapier FSP-1, and even the Ihawk is actually getting repositioned very close to the front here. I mean, Tatar Boy and Bloody Knight are not playing soft here. They are immediately recognizing this tempo advantage that they have gained by not having to face a deadly serious opener. And especially around the Gulf point, they are basically already sieging the area, just getting the Ihawk, a little bit of reinforcement, some artillery to secure this, take out that Fagot just right now. And yeah, the NATO forces are now moving in with an infantry assault 5 minutes in. If you are playing the more passive divisions, if you're playing against airborne forward deployment or whatever, if you don't have the advantage, just wait for 5 minutes before doing your first attack, and you probably have managed to scale enough to compensate. And now with the extra units, extra support, extra air defenses, extra reinforcements, it's going to be a grinding fight for the Gulf. Now, the Polish and the East Germans are responding with a bunch of T-55s, which are actually quite good in this position, outside of the fact that there is an M1A1 Abrams covering all of this.
Yeah, the M1A1 needs to be taken out by some Su-22s or like negated by some smoke play. The artillery here coming immediately in from the 122mm howitzers, trying to snipe the CV where it is, but that one is moving around. Rangers and engineers there moving around as well, so the honkers will have issues just pushing through there. Bloody Knight moving around, trying to strike deep here with some M113s and a Fist V, trying to move around there. The Syria 30 AT plane flying above all of this, and yeah, CV of Bloody Knight moves out. Engineers get overrun, so the take will be stopped here again, but the 166 points, that's already enough to get the victory here in the end. So it is down to the red team here to actually push back now and get some points onto the scoreboard. And yeah, Bloody Knight here really annoying with the movement of the M113s and the Fist V. UATs under fire in the center as well, and the artillery of the Polish here, not the strongest out there. So those 122 millimeters, they are decent, but they currently struggle to really score any kills. We have a lot of CIS-3s as well, which are just comically outdated World War II guns here, trying to come around
And
as artillery as well.
They're so far away from the front. No, these things have 14k range and the accuracy is bad. You want to have them close to the front line. That's where you can actually start abusing their fast rate of fire and salvo length. No, don't keep them that far away. I mean, frankly, if you had good enough recon, and as I'm just checking here, they actually do have pretty decent recon on the packed side. So getting these threes out there in the front could have taken out a Milan, could have taken out a Scouts already, but it seems to be that it's just too much to control right now for Trista.
Yeah, artillery here also not hitting the Eyehawks, showing you how small the impact radius of those 122 millimeters are. So yeah, all missing. Commandosis trying to hold the middle against Rangers. Jaguar cluster trying to come around as the CIS-3s now unload and try to do some damage as artillery, but yeah, they are already not good artillery in Steel Division, and they're even worse 45 years later, trying to do the same thing again. And counter battery now coming against the 122s. Good shots there from the great 155mm howitzers, the British and German 122mm howitzers. Just absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, doing good damage there. CIS-3s on the other side, trying to come in against the armored rifles, just spamming the area, but they need direct hits to deal any significant damage, and they currently don't get those.
Tatar Boy and Bloody Knight have such great supply right there in the front line. The M1 Abramses went a little bit too close, and a kinetic penetrator destroyed half of the A1's health. And now the A1 actually retreating here and taking some fire, but it started repairing basically immediately. Like its cohesion is still completely down, but it already has healed like 2 or 3 of its pips. And this is the efficiency that you want to be having if you're playing 8th, is that you cannot afford to not have your units performing to the maximum. They are so expensive. 275. It is a great unit, excellent tank, great tank, one of the best tanks. But if it gets disabled, if it gets into a bad position, if it gets routed, the damage is even more than with any other units. So excellent supply play. Huge fan of this. Great showing here from the NATO side as well. The unit compositions of 4th Schmeck are really not suited for this kind of fight. The Commandos in the middle are doing some pretty great fights. The up-vetted 3-vet Commandosi are not the strongest squads. They only have a 6 men and not a great 80 weapon. But with the up-vet, the accuracy and fire rate are good enough to fight off these other units on longer ranges. But there's only a limited number of those. And the up-vetted Rospecialny were already largely taken out, whereas a bunch of the SAS are still out there. The scaling that you can do with 4 Schmeck is basically it's OSAS. It's OSAS, it's T55s, it's BMP1s, and it's the ZIS-3s. And there's actually a Lynx Hellarm in the backline, taking out a recon BMP and getting shot down by a 50 cal machine gun there, but just a little bit extra.
It spots the fob as well, and that's the big thing now. That is going to get toasted, as the M110's likely going to aim up for it in a second. 155mm howitzer currently a bit under counter battery fire, so they took quite a bit of damage. The M113s here actually trying to be really annoying as well. The AT gun though starts to get rid of them, but yeah, they're doing an annoying amount of work there too. The counter artillery here keeps on hitting the challengers. F111 LGB goes down in the middle to OSALs and Books. So the support stuff is still there for now. We have another air-mobile Pioneer, and those Pioneers come with a Carl Gustav, coming in with a Lix rocket. BRDM's trying their best to keep them away. MiG-21 fighter gets the kill. Mobile Pioneers need to be dealt with, whilst the artillery comes in and kills off the FOB, going up in a big explosion there. So yeah, FOB is gone, meaning that that big investment once more wasn't really worth it here in this game. And with that said, the 193 points here for the players on the right side, not that big yet, but they start to get more and more forces in here. M1 Abrams and M1A1s coming around here in good numbers, and there's just not enough to deal with those heavy tanks here right now. Maybe they could get some more cluster bombers out, but for now, dealing with those heavy tanks is going to be an insane pain for the red side.
Yeah, I believe 4th Schmeck doesn't even get Conqueror's missiles. At least it doesn't get Conqueror's weapons teams. And these their helicopters with the Mi-24Ds, you get 2 per card, which is better than most, but the missiles are older generation compared to the Mi-24V and P variants, which get longer ranges, faster missiles, better penetration, or sometimes. And even though BMP-1s, great units, not great at fighting off mid-game pushes from NATO tanks. The engineer leader has pushed in from Bloody Night into the zone here, into the building, and behind the engineer leader is just like everything. And everything and more coming in. The full-on 5-squad infantry deployment just getting out there. The 6th here has not managed to get enough of a solid front line. The Polish are still kind of holding. The large British push has not happened. And out there in the front line, Piechota Schmeck and T-55s are getting some pretty good fighting done. The motorized air mobiles are way stronger than the Polish infantry, of course. Armored rifles, pretty much on the same level. And the SAS making sure that the enemy helicopters can't participate. And Tatar Boy here has been deploying there and positioning their infantry so well that the T-55s have to drive into the forest to actually start getting some shots off, where the Carl Gustavs can just front hit them and do 5 damage per front hit. And yeah, that's if Tatar Boy had been a little bit irresponsible, had been pushing further, maybe there would have been a bunch of free damage done. But alas, now Polish infantry once again wiped out there in north. Counter battery taking out one of those precious 122mm guns from the Polish, which are subpar for other divisions, but the best for the for Schmeck. And yeah, just a full-on collapse there. Trista is sending, seems to be that Trista was actually floating a lot of points, because there's a 4, 5, 6 tanks, if you count the T-55s, some infantry, and a bunch of Lustumjägers, a quick reaction force coming in from the floating, like, I'm going to say 1,500 points, give or take. Yeah. And Lustumjägers, powerful spec ops squads, but it's gonna only able to hold the position here. Doubtful that the Americans are gonna overextend here too much.
Yeah, M113's here trying to scat out things, but a lot of mech rifles push through. M1A1 numbers have risen quite a lot. There are a lot of tanks around here right now, and yeah, I believe there's 5 or 6 Abrams here right now in the south, and that's a big issue. M110s do a good job counter batterying here as well, getting some decent kills. A lot of light vehicles get killed off from the blue side, but they keep the infantry, they keep the artillery, they keep the heavy tanks alive, and that's the key part here right now. Those M113s, those Robo Milans, all of those are easily replaceable, whilst on the other side, important unit like the Su-22 AT going down here, and that's a lot harder to replace, the artillery going down to counterfire and stuff like this. So trying to deal with the front line here, not easy right now for the red side. And yeah, just once the M1A1 numbers get too high, you will struggle to deal with them with the AP capabilities that you have in these two divisions. The ones off 6 Motostrelki are okay, but they are not the greatest either. They don't have a big number of conquerors or anything like that. And yeah, the Polish are just terrible at dealing with heavy tanks. That's what they try to play around in 1v1 games, just like making it so that the enemy can't afford the heavy tanks, putting them under so much pressure, and that's just not something you can do on this map. So I think the map picks, the division picks here once more, not quite as well adjusted for the map. You don't need a fast division like 4th C mech on this map. A division that is a bit heavier, like after the picks and the bans, maybe something like 7th Panzer, 19th Motorstrelka or so, I think would have been the better supporting pick here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they, knowing that Greyhound is most likely well practiced with the Czech divisions, wondered if they pre-banned 1st and 19th the mainstay Czech divisions. Probably didn't ban the reservist one, but which would maybe explain why the division that just straight up doesn't seem to the tactic of playing going at its silly style, which is the premier Forge mech strategy. It was about they used the options in capturing these two crossroads in the middle, but instead, I think taking more risks would have maybe been the way to go. Just trying to abuse the speed advantage and maybe get into the corner of Alpha, maybe start out the game by doing like a big risky attack on Alpha or Delta or something, because the transition, even though Greyhound has been like fighting over the same area and has been keeping the front line going, the second UK outscales Forge Mech in a toe-to-toe fight, and the challengers and the Milan 1 missiles that are ubiquitous with the Warrior Milans is more than enough to fight off the T-55s, even the Meridas. And this is it just seems like the divisions here, 6th and 4th, not bad divisions. Just they're just being played way too standard.
Yeah, and the CIS 2, 3 guns and stuff like that, like those are just investments you can't afford to do. Those are just liabilities at this point, and the NATO side here with HVS is pushing in real good, and once those heavy tanks are online and the enemy doesn't have anything to do with them, the cost efficiency goes through the roof. The MiG-21 clusters maybe could have done a bit earlier, but the AA defense by now is likely too good to let that happen, as they get one-shot by the iHawks, and that is all around. And so with this, the +1 here slowly continues right now, as the blue team is getting a new CV South. Hawks flying around here as well, and it's going to be real tough to do anything of importance here right now with the red team. They have a couple of tanks there, but there's just no recon, no support for all of these tanks that are currently stuck in Gulf, and that is a really, really big issue.
Yeah, the MiG-31s here are, at least they managed to keep a deterrence on LGB planes going out there and removing some of the T-80s and T-64 leaders, which are currently really the only thing actually fighting successfully, that can actually gun down an attacking American force, which in this case means an Abrams and its support. Having the numbers of guns and fighting on these close ranges means that the Abramses are going to get outgunned. Now, Tatar Boy sending some air mobile pioneers as support here to help and Black Hawk's carrying an air cav, so infantry reinforcements are coming in to keep hotel, to prevent a counterattack from pushing through.
Yeah.
So far, recon is neither side has great recon, great spotting on the other, but the positions here, defender does get the inherent recon advantage in many ways, and in this case, the defenders are NATO because they are running a +2.
Yeah, SU-22 clusters here trying to come around. One gets shut down, second one tries to get out, but they don't get the kill here. Oh, second one actually does, so they get the Charlie under heavy fire there. Well, we see rocket planes in the south engaging BMPs, and the Motostrelkis there are in abysmal shape. Units here pushing forward. Only a couple of more reinforcements coming in there, but the south is starting to fall here as well, and With there only being a bit of a force in the center and that one having no support, it's going to be really tough to see how Red Team can turn any of this around right now. The combat just way too well established by Bloody Knight and Tata Boy. If you let them get them into a classic game, they are a really, really scary couple and they will hit you quite hard, and that's currently exactly what happens to Greyhound and Tata Boy and Trista Command here.
Yeah, the artillery, even the hyacinths firing from such like maximum ranges are not being taking out the engineer leader down south. Just the artillery, first of all, to be actually effective, should be way closer to the front line. There's a lot of space here, a lot of safe space to move around in, and just a misplay to keep them that backwards. Even if you have the munitions depot, you're supposed to use that munitions depot if you actually want to use it like very effectively with artillery, not just the rocket artillery, but proper artillery. You're gonna use it to refuel your supply trucks. That way, you don't reveal to the enemy that, oh, these guys probably have something I should scout and destroy, and also you make sure that your rounds actually hit.
And yeah, hits over here on the left side. CV trying to move into the zone there. And we have a good amount of tanks there. That is really the last bastion of hope, but they need some good air support there, and instead the air support, oh no! Oh, they got the cluster bomber just before it got dropped. Oh, that would have been such a monstrous hit there. At least 2 tanks would have gone down, and there's so many blue units in the south. Yeah, those tanks of Trista were just too idle, and they were the only real concentration of force, and they just sat on the back foot here. But the M1A1s kept on picking away enemy units, and now they try to come out here, but there are too many forces by now, too many targets, too little support, too little recon, and I think those tanks of Trista are not going to do much here at this stage. The aircraft troopers push through the south, and Trista with a couple of Saperis trying to hold the line, but the Cis-2's under fire. The northern situation not all that strong, and yeah, it's just once more efficient trade. Cluster Bomber this time around drops, gets a T-80B kill. Book gets good damage. Can it finish off the job? Yes, it can. At least that one goes down, but MiG-21 cluster on the other side goes down as well. Might get a good run there. Yes, gets one of the CVs. Next cluster run comes in, gets another M1A1. Okay, this is at least some good action. Cluster maybe hitting the same spot a bit too much and coming in a bit too piecemeal. They should have all come in at once. This way around, they all got shut down one after another. This is not how you use Air Force. You want to come in with a big strike package all at once and not coming in just perfectly between the reloads for the enemy to fire another salvo at your just incoming plane, as that did cost the Red Air Force completely, and that's the only other tool that maybe could have done a bit of work here. And with that, it's looking really, really bleak for our red team right now.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Luftsturmjägers do a helicopter drop, do a heli opener. Like I know it's basically suicidal against SAS, but if you find out that the SAS, if your teammate says that, oh, the SAS are here, I have spotted the British opener, then like 2 minutes in, buy a bunch of Luftsturmjägers. It's a big map, move them from the sides. Your enemy probably doesn't have the points to immediately buy a fighter. Just like try to do stuff. That's what you need to do if you're playing against divisions that are superior to you in technology, which 8th absolutely is. And I think you're correct about this map. I think this map, with all of its points zones being 1-point zones, very much a defensive and grinding frontline map, doesn't offer you the like mad dash tactics, doesn't have the 1-2 point zone that you want to overinvest in, doesn't have special easily defensible zones that you might want to take a risk early on. No, it's just a methodical movement from one tree line to another tree line, set up a good unit combination, some good combined arms, make sure to keep a tab on the hills and the forest. If you can spot a road or a route for your units to move in, and Tatar Boy, and no, actually Bloody Knight did spot those routes and did abuse them, keep sending the screening forces of the M113s and just finding out how little there was. And by this point, every time something goes bad, they have enough helicopter infantry to keep reinforcing this. And Sixth is also kind of notorious in that it is bad at reinforcing infantry with so much of its stuff coming in on BMP-1s.
Yeah, and the northern side now starting to collapse as well, as every side now is suffering under the cost inefficiencies in the trades, and this is starting to get the last couple of points needed here for Bloody Knight and Tata Boy. This is going to be another win for them, and yeah, I feel like there's just a bit too much playing around with weird units here from Twister Command and Greyhound in this series, and then just not using the concentrated forces when they had them, and this leads to another defeat here. We have Bloody Knight and Tata Boy getting the 2-0 victory over Twister Command and Greyhound.
Yeah, I mean, this was a Bloody Knight and Tatar Boy basically showed that you can just win on great fundamentals. They had pretty good team cohesion. There was every once in a while you would see some key units, whether they be helicopter reinforcements or aircraft or just helicopters in general, move around and help their compatriots. Artillery was being used very well. There was a constant stream of information, quite obviously, especially towards the heavy American artillery, which participated in a bunch of fights, took out some key units. And just in general, in the first game, in the first game, I'd say that the 79-6 combo was just overwhelming. But I have a feeling that if Tatar Boy was forced to play a different division, if Bloody Knight was forced to play a different division, I'd say that they would have probably still had this. And the division picks for Trista and Greyhound were way more relevant to their losses than the division picks of their opponents, I would say.
Yeah, the fourth motto, ZMAC, is just not a useful division on this map. I feel like they don't have the artillery support that you need. They don't have the heavy tanks. They don't have the air tap. Like all things you can use quite efficiently on this map, and fourth doesn't really have either of those. It has decent infantry, it has cost-efficient tanks, but you just can't get into the push on this map, and that did cost them here a good bit. And yeah, in the end, Play Knight and Tata Boy won and get to a victory there, getting closer to the playoffs. And I'm looking forward to see what these players will get done in the upcoming games here in this tournament. Yeah, especially seeing how Tristan and Greyhound adjust to the Warno meta in 2v2 and how they will play there. It's going to be interesting to see how veterans from the Wargame series will handle this. And with that said, it's time for another 2v2 game, and that one will have Pro Commie in it, so let's get hyped, everybody. So here we go, everybody. Next series of this tournament, the Defcon 2. And if you guys want to get into some tournament action, Warner League Season 5 is awaiting, guys. Sign up now. We have a lot of cool stuff in the works to improve on it. More news there on the second part of the Warner Dispatch, which is our newsletter for this whole event, which we have on the website as well, which you can find right here. First Warner Dispatch already teasing all of that stuff, like the pick and ban tool, and we will go into that more next week. But yeah, better Fantasy League and just better coordination in general around that whole event. And Warner League is just amazing for everybody interested and who in competitive 1v1, as it is up for any skill level. Division 4 is for the new players, Division 1 is for the highest of levels, and you will have pretty balanced games and opponents of a similar skill level, no matter at which skill level you are at right now. So sign up right now to get yourself in there. And yeah, let's get back into this here, as we have a Warner League champion here on the right side with Procomi, and I've no idea who's behind Bigos Kekos, if that is a known player or not. But on the other side, those are two known players, Nocturna and Dotspy. And Dotspy, fan of the channel here as well, has been a viewer actively over a long time. And then we have Nocturna, who did win Division 2. So a Division 1 player caliber there as well. And okay, it's Scoof. So this is a really, really strong team on the right side then. Well, it's left side, not a slouch either. So I'm excited, especially because that matchup here is a pretty interesting one. Urban Frontlines, 6 US, 8 US versus 19 Motostrike, 56 Sturmo Brigada. This is quite a matchup.
Oh my god, Protoss, I don't think you're hyping this game up enough. There are up-vetted, 2-vet MI Abramses coming in from Nocturna. There are... Procomi is playing goddamn 56th on Urban Frontline. We have Scoof, who's of course Procomi's not necessarily the Robin to Procomi's Batman. I would say maybe the Captain America to Procomi's Iron Man, or the other way around. The Dotspy Nocturna here, of course, chat heroes, competitive enough. But like frankly, a Scoof and Procomi team, this is like the top of the top of the top when it comes to 2v2. Probably not a combination of two players who are so familiar with each other's play, who have explored each other's strategies and have the kind of communication necessarily to actually be there a few seconds earlier, to have the stuff flowing a few seconds earlier. Probably not a stronger team than Procomi and Scoof. And with Dotspy here, Dotspy is opening with a full-on urban fighting extremism build. Let's say the sixth infantry division with Navy SEALs, the arguably maybe strongest urban fighting units in the game here. They are going to be facing down the Visatkari coming in here, dropping in from Scoof, which are the quite excellent 10-man spec ops squads only deployed by helicopters, as well as stuff like the Afghanzi, which is also some of the best close quarters fighting infantry in the game. But the tank advantage here is with NATO. Both every division here has great infantry. 8th Infantry, maybe the least so, but 8th Infantry, as we saw, has a mass of potential tanks. And these tanks are already getting put in by Nocturna, getting operated as a fighting group, trying to contest the road, the main road, would you say avenue, in north of center here. Extremely excited. Helicopter heavy opener coming in with both a jammer, chopper, Deshanten Grashvetka dropping in with a rocket. But Dotspy has countered this by opening and supporting their airborne dragon squads with airborne stingers. This is we have the Czechs are taking the southern line here, with Procomi taking the northern line, whereas the Americans are all going in on the middle. They want to start abusing their mechanized advantage as early as possible.
Yeah. And yeah, the lanes here getting really saturated now. The M1s here going down the Bundesstraße, I would call this. And yeah, a big highway going down there. BTR 70 under fire, gets killed off by the Bradley. That's a good first kill there. Stingers getting a shot on the Mi-8, routing it, getting it killed. That's good stuff as well. So the NATO side with some good W's here early on, bringing in some solid forces towards the Anna point to try to hold that off as well. T-72s and T-55s coming around there, but actually not going for it, but rather flanking towards the town from there. Whilst the M1s already in the middle of combat. The Bradley did go down to a Concourse, but that Concourse likely has to leave soon, as it will get under fire by the Abrams here. Abrams dealing good damage there. And they can eat Concourse shells for a good while. So all of that infantry here in the north, that will just get gunned down by these Abrams, I think. And there needs to be a solution here from Scoof and Procomi, and they don't have it just yet. There's nothing really to stop these Abrams right now.
Yeah, and the Alaskan Cavalry Scouts are 45-point units with recon, and they are interesting. They are reservist units with locked-in upvets. So they act interestingly, but in general, they do actually perform quite well. And being recon squads here, they are able to fire and do free damage at the VSAT Kari on long range without the VSAT Kari being able to fight back. And so far, it seems that the momentum here has pretty much completely for NATO right now. Now, Scoof is sending a small mechanized force with some recon, and now with anti-air as well, to push Anna, which is a 2-point zone down in south. There is a existing support structure here with the Fagot missile and the Svatava, which is a exceptional recon IFV, basically, a recon unit. Nocturna is buying an F-111 LGB, an expensive, heavy LGB bomber. But if that thing manages to take out... No, it loses sight right at the wrong moment. The T-72 M1 is able to keep on engaging. F-111 is coming in for a second pass. Jesterka here. The Jesterka
smoke coming in, though, and it doesn't switch target. The Jesterka are going to get some more shots out. The F-111 here in a lot of trouble. Krutz firing now onto the pivots and the M1 Abrams. They don't seem to get an Abrams kill. They don't even get the pivot. But yeah, the F-111 here still hasn't dropped the bomb. And this is an absolute disaster here. Such a massive investment from Nocturna, and just not having the spotting capabilities now manages to get a hit onto the T-55. Has to be careful with the AA flying towards it. MiG-29 out now as well. There are no F-16s. There are some OA-10s now, but the F-111 now in a world of pain here. MiG-29 right behind it. The Stinger and Pivot might at least be able to revenge it, as there is now the F-16 gets the kill there. MiG-29 goes down. F-111 with the kill on the MiG-29 at the T-55. Not the end of the world, but it really wanted to get that T-72 kill, and not getting that is for sure a bit painful here. A-10 now coming around towards the south, trying to go for the Yester car. Will try to shoot up some other units there as well. First A-10 gets pushed back though. Second one struggles to get onto target as well. And once more that issue here. Air units not controlled perfectly here on the side of Dotspy and Nocturna. And that's a bit painful, but the rest of the battle is going pretty well. And they get supply up in the north. There is now a T-72M there. So the M1 Abrams are not completely uncontested, but there are two M1A1s here now around, and they outclass the T-72 quite heavily.
Yeah, the loss of Anna is a huge bonus here for the red team. The fact that they can just they have the supremacy here. The two engineers Flash are incapable of facing down any of the vehicles because they don't have AT weapons, so T-72s are just going to get a free kill here. Now a second wave of two A-10s, this time the AT variants coming out here. Nocturne and Dotspy not playing around here.
Good side shot against the M1 though. In the north, has to be getting out of there. And maybe a bit of a miss by Nocturna and Dotspy. Like the double recon A-10 and now the double AT A-10, why not mixing this before, but they get the kill there on the T-72. That is pretty key. Getting a couple more kills here would be nice for them. Just gunning down maybe some infantry. MiG-27 K-80 is back on the battlefield. It got pushed back earlier by an F-16 without getting any damage out. But yeah, the M1 in the north went down. That's a good kill there for the red team. The M1A1s here currently a bit low on support. Not enough recon there for my liking around it there, as the investment went into air. And yeah, the blue side maybe slightly low on ground units right now. But the other side now coming with the MiG-27 K-80. It finds a missile shot. It doesn't find a kill and gets shot out on the way out. A-10s get hit by the MiG-23s. Get the kill on the BMP-2 though. Second one coming around here. Doesn't find any vehicles, so has to fall back again. As finally more support units here. More infantry, a bit more recon. Coming onto the battlefield here for Dotspy and Nocturna. And a couple of Humvee tows as well. But yeah, as you said, the capture of Anna buys a lot of time here for the red team. A-10 under fire here as well. F-16 though, coming in clutch. And might be able to get the kill there. Yes, does get the kill against the MiG-29s. So the air superiority at least does get hold by the blue side here.
Yeah, the Pro Commie actually buying 2 baby Grads, the Grad Vs, and as using them to try to catch the Abramses. And so far has they actually upvetting these to just get the ability to do the short bursts of 122mm rockets. The aim time quite fast with these things. So now Nocturna is going to have to micro the tanks away from the front line and be constantly worried about whether Pro Commie is has spotting on them. With this map, of course, being filled with towers and recon infantry having great stealth here. But on the other hand, Dotspy has some of the best recon here. The LRS in the middle position in the tower here, getting excellent spotting capacity on like numerous recon roads. Yeah. So, and the blues are are building up a force in the south area of middle, which will be able to push downwards. I think it's pretty smart that the NATO is not sieging Anna on the wide front, but instead is going to be trying to push top down. That means that the front line is going to be smaller, and that the ability to maybe use their air advantage is going to be bigger. And Eagle coming in here, taking out a MiG-23 Flogger and getting a nice hit on the MiG-27 K-80 variant, which are, of course, you want to keep those things out of the sky as much as possible, considering any one of them, they're one of the biggest threats to the M1A1 Abrams is here. Another salvo going in, not hitting anything on Pro Commie's side. M1's Nocturna putting a lot of control behind those things. And Pro Commie has managed to stop the enemy advance, but it doesn't really seem like there's a capacity to actually push through here. Scoof has sent in 3 T-72s, and Pro Commie is buying 2 T-62s. So a number of upvetted tanks here with a command tank might be able to push through and get some series of close-range shots. If those A1s get destroyed, there are still a bunch of dragons around, which means that the tanks won't be able to push out on their own. But still, the possibilities here, the possibility for a catastrophe if Pact goes in for the attack and then gets A-10'd, or just doesn't get the shots off against the A1 Abramses, which are the better tanks in every way. Huge possibilities.
Yeah, T-55 goes down here at Feodor as well. And that's an interesting part of pushing right now from the blue team there. Going through the town, kind of ignoring Anna in the south, saying that, like, if we isolate you at Feodor, if we get that town, then we can cut off Anna completely. We can isolate that point and can clean it up easily afterwards. So I think this is a good attempt here for Dotspy and Nocturna to try to get back onto this. The only issue is that Anna is a 2-pointer, Feodor is only a 1-pointer, so you won't get a tick out of that immediately, but you then would have an easier time going down south. Another M1A1 comes in here, so we have 3 of them around again. A T-62 with broken tracks gets shut down there, as the T-72s off Scoof didn't engage with this. The Viet Karsi just getting packed away at, but good hits now by the rocket artillery. Everything gets stunned down. This should be the moment to follow this up with, but it doesn't come like that. Okay, I'm surprised that they didn't move in faster. Now the M1A1s have time to fall back, repair, and regain their strength, and you won't catch them. 2 more M1A1s coming up, and a number of 5 M1A1s on the battlefield. That is really, really scary. Artillery from both sides starts to become really annoying on this relatively narrow front line currently, but coops go down here on the side of the red team. That means the air ring has just become a bit more scary again here for the blue team, and I like where the blue team's at right now, and that's a real big surprise against 2 of the best Warno players of all time here, including the league champion.
The T-72 attack was spotted by the scout helicopter, so absolutely, NATO absolutely has the understanding that there is like a group waiting here. Procomi is even putting up a defense beacon here, pointing out that this is probably something a bit risky here, with the M110 being able to get some shots off. M110 firing at the front line of the Motostrelci, paving the ground for the attack on the Fedor. And right now we're seeing Dot Spy's Airborne Dragon, as well as an Alaskan Cavalry Scouts early on, are actually moving on to the 2-point zone on Anna. They've already for some time been cutting off the reinforcement zone. They managed to get a P-55 and stop the Pancherovnichi on getting on the zone with their Dragon missiles. And with their recoil rifles, actually. And now more light rifles are going out there. Swatava is using its gun to fight back, but the recoilless rifles actually have good enough range to try to counterattack this. A-10 will most likely help secure this attack. So only an Igla and a Jesterka. Jesterka, pretty nice unit, huge fan of it. The fact that it has 1 armor means that the small arms can penetrate it. Only 50 cals can try to. This means that Jesterkas in infantry fights can get a lot done with their anti-air cannons. They also have a huge amount of ammo.
Yeah, M110s here coming in nicely as well. The M1A1's going back in there and starting to generate a lot more value. The rocket artillery here is being a bit annoying. Get some VADS, but the 4 M1A1s here start to generate a bit more value. I'm surprised there isn't a bigger move from Dot Spy and Nocturna to the north, considering that Ivan is pretty open. At the same time now, we have a MiG-27 AT coming in again, and the air defense is not supreme from the ground. So it gets another hint here, but the M1A1 can survive a frontal hit, and the MiG-27 gets cleaned out by an F-15. Second one gets hit by an F-15 and immediately forced back as well. So the M1A1s keep on living, and another one of those dangerous AT planes that could potentially be dangerous for them gets taken out. The Swatava still alive in the south. That is kind of annoying.
The Abramses are pushing through here. There's a whole bridge. There's a side shot by something, a Conquerors, I think. And now with the rockets hitting straight up there, not doing the critical damage, the wounded Abrams likely will be able, Binkovsky will be able to save the tank, and with the rest of the tanks also now moving backwards.
It is not enough to follow this up anymore. Fagot ATGM vehicles trying to flank here, but there is a mech rifle to spot them. That should be able to at least hold them off for a while and get the M1A1s back into safety. T-62 here getting involved, but M1A1s here spotting around as well. T-55s coming forward. I'm not liking this position for Nocturna. These M1A1s absolutely should get the hell out of there, and they do so now as the enemy ATGMs come around. T-62s getting involved. One M1A1 goes down. Yeah, Nocturna overstepping the welcome there a bit, getting too many side shots around, losing a second M1A1. That was completely unnecessary. That was not the position to push forward into. MiG-27K doesn't get a hit, so at least 3 M1A1s do live, but going down from 5 to 3 is a big swing there. Meanwhile, at the same time, though, the southern zone has been freed. That will be a swing, 2+2 for the blue team. 24 minutes remaining. That would be enough. F-15 goes a bit too deep there. Loses, just gets forgotten about, I believe, and does go down. And the artillery park here for the red team with all these cruds is pretty scary. M1A1s here once more under fire by this. Supply trucks get hemorrhaged as well, and that one M1A1 here might go down under all of that artillery fire. Tank fire coming in as well. It's down to 1 hit point, and there we go. One more off the battlefield, and you don't have endless numbers of those. It's one more that's coming in. I'm not sure how many more you can bring around. Another one being bought, so that's back to 4. I guess out of 8 or so that you will have in the whole deck. We have seen 7 so far, I believe. It's MiG-27 coming around, trying to kill another one. Eyehawk and Stingers getting on its heels. Okay, next MiG-27 written off. That is important, and the southern push here is important as well, as this is now threatening Theodore. This is now threatening maybe even a breakthrough into the real line here in the south, because there's nothing there for red side. If blue side realizes that, they could even try to find the enemy FOB, could try to find the enemy rocket artillery, and red side now needs to spread out more. They are doing that now, BMP2s coming around, but that means less pressure in the middle, less focus towards the M1A1s, and the +2 now really taking for the blue team, which would be enough to win the game at this point.
Yeah, Dot Spy is getting a bunch of units into a really nice siege position. Try to go for Fedor. This has been a very methodical and slow push, giving Scoof time to reinforce this. But the red forces are heavily invested into artillery right now, and the reinforcements coming in for Scoof for the Czechs are 0 vet BMP2s. So numbers most likely do still exist, but how capable will those infantry units be in these kind of close range fights where they're going to be sending engineers flash and using a lot of artillery, trying to remove a lot of them. Light rifles, RCL with the recoilless rifles will be able to use those AT weapons against infantry, giving them an advantage against similar, like the weaker infantry doing a lot of suppression early on. Bunch of Zalosnici, which are, I believe, reservist units. And the Fire Team Dragons are just, the Dragons in general with their 18 pen, they're just too good to counter on these urban ranges. They are doing damage against the T-72s, against the T-55s, and I believe they will not they will one-shot the BMP-2, don't they?
Yeah.
Like 18 pen, yeah. So this is now happening. The Americans have been trying to push this by pushing the Vulcan anti-air weapons teams forwards. Those things are quite great at dealing DPS damage, and having them out there in the front line can instantly break through enemy defenses. Maybe being a little bit too slow trying to get those things in position. Also, not enough supply for the Americans right now. A lot of wounded guys there. Need resupply.
Yeah, M1A1 gets killed off here once more, so we are down to 4 now, and that's, I believe, all the 4 we get for the next 21 minutes. This has to be kept alive, as otherwise T-72 and T-62 numbers here could become a problem. They still have the air superiority, they still have a good amount of strike aircraft, so that could be a way to victory as well, as they have chipped away on cubes, they have chipped away on enemy fighters. MiG-29s have died in good numbers here, so this could be the way of holding it after the M1A1s fall, but without the M1A1s, pushing is going to become really, really hard. And the Kratz here just becoming so numerous here. Non-artillery coming on as well. The artillery play here, the just superior amounts of explosives is a classic pact doctrine here, and really interesting to see if that's going to work out to turn this tide around right now, because I like the situation currently still more for blue side, but they have to be careful with the M1A1s, and they obviously have to be careful to never underestimate their opponents in this game, because if you give them an opening, Pro-Commie and Scoof will take it.
Yeah, these both Pro-Commie and Scoof, despite playing on the offensive now with the +2 leading and helping the NATO forces, they have been heavily investing into artillery. 2 Danas out there in the front line for Scoof, and 3 Nona self-propelled howitzers. Oh, the Eagle going out and taking out the MiG-27, taking out the second MiG-27. That is massive.
Really good decision-making there by Dot Spy, realizing that nothing is shooting at your F-15, so why not dive deep there and taking it out before it could ever get close to an M1A1. M1A1s at the meantime, though, they still have a terrible day here. The artillery once more came down onto them. They need to get repaired here. They need to get some supplies next to them to repair them up. The MR10s, they keep on doing a good job counter-batterying. Danas here under pretty heavy fire will be kept inefficient. 155mm coming in from the other side will try to hit the T-72, will hit that really accurately. So if the Scoof is not reacting quickly, the T-72 leader there will go down in this salvo. First hit goes in well. No reaction from Scoof. Now reacting, but it's already stunned down. It will be slow. One more hit at least. And the other 2 shots might be on target as well. No, the last one too late. And the T-72 leader does survive for now. TOW2 goes down on the other side. Conquerors goes down on the red team as well. M1A1s here getting involved a bit in the middle. But Nonnas are aiming up again. Artillery is aiming up again. Nocturna basically needs to constantly move with the Abrams right now. Abrams immediately needs moving. That should be the only thing that Nocturna focuses right now. And the focus wasn't there. Way too late with the movement here on that Abrams. Everything is coming down on it. And that might be another Abrams dying. Oh, it's so close. But it seems like it will survive. I think it's out of the salvo area. 1 hit point on that Abrams again. That one needs to fall back out of line of sight, out of the knowledge area of the enemy, so that can repair in safety. Well, it's a lot of infantry here coming in for Nocturna and Dotspy. Planes, not so much. Only 1 A10 currently flying around. But that is okay as long as they can set this Feodor push up. I think if they can get Feodor, this game is as good as won. Still a bit of a oversight on my eyes that they never checked for Ivan, but that Feodor area still could be a vital one.
Yeah, and you know what units have been shining in their the lack of the... Okay, well, that saying doesn't translate from Finnish. Anyways, Navy SEALs. 2 Navy SEALs finally getting board here. These guys are getting deployed pretty defensively, but
Abrams didn't fall back far enough, gets caught out here, and now there's only 3 of them. We have an M1 Abrams CP coming out here now. So there are a couple more baseline M1s, but yeah, those Nocturna can't leave these around anywhere close to the front line when they're this damaged. Like, they immediately take fire. Nocturna should know better. And yeah, NX Abrams under fire has to fall back. Shouldn't fall back to that position. Should fall further back. Like, you can't risk these Abrams. They are so important for your combined arms here right now, as they are what holds off the T-72s. They are what hold off the T-62s on the defense. Once those fall, there's little here to hold you back. 6 US can't help you. They only get a couple of recon M48s, which just aren't competitive in these matchups. So it is all out down to that tank tap. No IFVs that could help you out either with defensive ATGMs. So only static infantry and ATGM units after that. So these M1s are absolutely key. And you have to position them better, further away from the artillery than they do right now.
But Dotspy bought a bunch of COC-V AGLs, which are basically grenade launcher Humvees here, except not Toyotas, so they can't be that great. Anyways, the COC-V Humvees are forming a fire support formation southwest of Fedor, and I think the sieging Fedor and keeping up the pressure here is crucial, I think, because there is a real possibility that Pro-Commie and especially Pro-Commie can get into the center, can at the very least contest it. So the counter push needs to exist here, and having the VADs, the Vulcans, having the PVADs, having the COC-Vs here, just cruising around and taking shots at and removing enemy infantry squads. Now a T-72 moving out there, and Humvee though not in position to counter.
Dotspy flying in F-15s on their own here though. I like the attack on the helicopters. I don't like it on their own. I wish there would have been a full strike package here. Then the F-15s can draw the attention from the AA. They have 40% DCM that will draw a lot of fire. Then the bombers should come in, taking out either AA or taking out enemy tanks. It's just sending in the F-15s on their own for single helicopters is not worthwhile here, and rocket artillery currently is doing such a good job for the red team. The artillery dominance here is really real here right now, and it feels like Dotspy and Nocturna not doing as much of the air dominance as they should do. Finally have a Prowler out, which gets 1 kill here against 1 coup. But that's it for now, whilst a lot of units of theirs have gone down in this big firestorm here. They find the T-72 kill in the south. The tanks off the red side currently still not effective, but the artillery is, and that's what gets them closer to the center. And for now, blue side is still behind in points here. Prowler tries to find another kill here. Doesn't find another shot on AA though, but will take away a lot of AA fire and will draw a lot of attention there. Coops need to be reloaded, and they are not reloaded right now. It's just, I wish there would be more airplay right now from blue side. I wonder where all this Air Force goes, as clearly when you play 6 US, you want to win with that. M1 once more under artillery fire here, once more too close to the front line, so that it can be spotted where it is from the tower. And that means that it immediately will draw attention there again. M1s constantly have to move. Hammett coming directly into the artillery fire there. Luckily at the end of the salvo, so it won't go down. But yeah, those tanks can't stay static there for long. And now the red side gets the middle again. And that's a big issue here for blue team. M1 Abrams CP under artillery fire here, likely gonna go down as it is already damaged. So 2 right next to it. So this is a problem as well. Kiowa Warrior here is doing a great job from Nocturna, getting a decent amount of tank kills around the board as the AA is being kept back. F-15 Eagle once more survives here, coming out. A-10 flying around the flank, trying to get the BMP-2 killed there. But that's about it. Not really getting any value. I'm still really confused about the airplay here.
Yeah, Navy SEALs currently have actually moved into Fedor. There was a miscontrol. One of these units was left standing in the fire for too long, and now BMP-2s are moving out there to try to get this. Scoof has been sending vehicles that have been taken out by the Humvee tow in the southern line. At the same time, there's also an A-10 watching and covering. So Navy SEALs here actually all using most of the AT weapons to destroy the BMP-2s now. So the counterattack here from Dotspy needs to start moving. A-10 going out.
Ooh, gets the T-72 killed. The middle is under heavy fire by the Hawks. Hawks and Kiowa Warriors. Really good usage of the helicopters. Really good usage of the suppression of the enemy air defense there. A-10 gets hit pretty hard here by Igla. Gets shut down in the end. The Prowler can't find anything because all the coops are out of ammo right now and nothing else has radar. And so it goes down there. Those kills were pretty good, but at the same time, M1, A1 under fire. M1 Abrams leader goes down. And the artillery fire on the M1A1 does continue. Nocturna needs to get that out of there. But the Hawks and the Kiowa Warriors keep moving around. And then you can move back there in the center most likely relatively soon. Seals deal damage there, but now under fire by 2 T-72s, so they should disengage out of there as well. The Special Forces Infantry not used as well as it could be here by Dotspy. And 1 Navy SEAL there goes down. Artillery coming in towards the T-72 in the south. Humvee tow there getting involved as well, but always has to push into gun range, and there a T-72's chances of killing you are just a bit too big, so the Humvee tow's not great on the offense. Really great defensively, but on the offense...
Dotspy has still not unloaded their second artillery battery, just 2 artillery pieces just standing there with there's so many targets. They have such good spotting. Meanwhile, Nocturna's artillery for the longest time has not had any supply, despite both of these divisions being able to send out cheap and effective supplies. The artillery game is just getting lost by NATO here, trying to micro the front line. And they are doing quite well, but at 10 minutes in, the fact that the center has not been captured back, the fact that there are T-62s moving in and a wide line of infantry, even though a lot of it is Zalosniches, and there are Motorasvedkas there doing the actual spotting, and with the very limited number here of M1A1s, the last one, I believe, it's maybe there are standard M1s somewhat. No, there are 2 actually here. Yeah, the Bradleys are getting ordered, the tow Cobra is getting ordered, everything is getting out here to try to fight this back. There's not going to be that much time. So
and the airplanes play here once more. I have to be critical of that. It's even worse in 2v2s. If you do it like this, you can't trickle in planes in 2v2. You can't even really do it late game in 1v1 because one player's air defense is already good enough to kill off trickling in planes. But if two players' air defense can deal with your trickle in planes, then they will just kill them. And that's what happened to the A-10s. And the Prowler coming in on its own means that the coops can easily be turned off and have no targets. The F-15s coming in, and if enough AA fires on them, they die as well. Like, those strike packages out of 6 weren't good enough. And, like, the LGB bomber of 8 being thrown away on its own early on and so on. Like, in this matchup, air superiority and air spam can absolutely be a win condition. But Dotspy and Nocturna didn't play that hard enough. They played really well on the ground. But
oh no, the Zalosnichi are firing at the leader of Dotspy's leader. The Navy SEALs got taken out, and the Zalosnichi did actually miss. They did not get the leader here, but now Dotspy is going to have to retreat with that leader, and maybe the T-72s will go in and try to get a shot off here. Oh no, the artillery scaling from the pack, it actually worked. They just got all of their stuff out. There are prams. There are 3 prams out there. None of them have fired a shot yet. The smoke, I believe the smoke launching, or are they just smoke launching mortars? Anyways, the rocket artillery, everything just slowly whittling away the powerful units, powerful, expensive American units. Full on salvo taking out the M1A1 Abrams, once again pushing it down to 3 health before it manages to escape.
yeah, and there's just so much firepower here. There's Danas, there's the 203mm howitzer, the Pivonia, sitting around here as well, trying to get some kills. And the ground units here, the frontline units of the blue team, still doing great, but the fire support is not doing so. The artillery is not doing enough. The M110s finally got some resupply and finally did some damage again, but they didn't do enough here throughout this battle. And the air, as I said, has been tamed down too much, and the helicopters did abuse the air defense setting well enough. I don't think the air did quite, and I'm wondering what is in the air tab here, if there's maybe not any of the Corsairs in the air tab for Dotspy, because we haven't seen any. And that would just be a bit weird playing 6 without like a heavy investment into strike aircraft.
Yeah, they have some of the largest bomb loads in the game, and this win 2v2, you have these beautiful, precious lines of buildings, and you could just put one of them, one like HE bomber, go down and just remove an attacking formation. I get that you may not want to have those because your enemy is gonna predict that you have those, so the enemy is gonna overinvest into air while you're gonna be doing something else. And now smoke is allowing Nocturna to at least stabilize the situation for the moment. There's only 6 minutes left, and a +2 at 6 minutes is 80 times 6, which is 80 times 4 plus. I'm just gonna count this in my head.
It's just barely not enough. You
it's
won't get 600 something points. You won't, and you need to get over 700 points here to even. You would need 600 points to get a draw, 800 points to get a win, and that means getting a good bit deeper here. They would need Feodor, and there's just like you barely can't see Feodor because there's just so many red units parked in it right now at this point, because the blue team had to stop moving forward and taking fights around the 15-16 minutes mark, and they just couldn't get enough kills here. And red team was just allowed to get more and more units on the battlefield. Whenever red moved forward, they lost a good couple of units, but that didn't happen all that often. F-15 Eagle here now getting shut down. There comes Corsair, but it's once more coming in on its own without the seed plane to protect it, without any other planes to use the situation, and that means it just goes down, doesn't get its value back. And yeah, that's really not how you want to use the 6 air tab. You need to be more considerate when you have a deck that is supposed to air spam. Like the air tickle, the air trade can be done with decks that are just having a couple of strike aircraft, like something like maybe 8US in 1v1 or so. But if you have a deck that is just built around it, and 6US is the most built around the deck there is in this game currently, you need to be more considerate with that air tab if you want to get the win.
Yeah, it's I mean, at this point, like I agree. Like just seeing the singular planes now coming in here is just kind of doing it for the sake of doing it at this point, I think. But like going against the Pro Comi and Scoof team, this is the challenge, and these divisions were obviously quite well thought out. The strategy, the tactic, the combined in like scaling away from standard play and move and tank play and moving into buying a lot of like lot of zero vet infantry alongside the artillery to just out trade and out efficiency the enemy. By the time the early game breakthrough in the backlines managed to give them a big enough lead, and they obviously knew what they were doing. And this is just trying to play. Just trying to counter and trying to take engagements with your stronger infantry squads, as much as it does just maybe work on paper, as much as you get great artillery with both of these American divisions, it just wasn't enough. It was too well thought out, too well planned. It was too methodical, removing those M1A1s just slowly and only pressing the collective attack button once all the conditions were met. This was a great game from the red team, and but the fact that Nocturna and Dotspy got so close in this, that, as you said, just keeping some discipline with that airplay. Just say, instead of buying two of the A10s, just buy one, and then buy another unit so you can get Anna earlier. So stuff like that. A little bit less panicking, a little bit more planning out these attacks. It's not like there wasn't time to wait. It's not like there weren't moments to buy that extra supply that can keep your units alive or keep your attacks alive or keep your supply alive. It's not like there wasn't time to think about and plan, like, okay, so you're gonna send in these two planes and I'm gonna send in these two planes, and by that point I have the Prowler, and don't show your planes yet. You can do that communication, but facing down this the Russian team here, it's a huge task. So I'm not counting it against Nocturna and Dotspy. They did quite well.
Yeah, artillery here holding off, and yeah, they did a fantastic job on the ground, which always makes me feel a bit extra sad when I see that the airplay is not quite on par. But I'm just also a bit too like I have seen too many games of Fortitude fans on 6 US, so I know where it could be, and obviously that's hard to reach. Like there's nobody really outside of Fortitude fans who can play that division to that extent. But yeah, it was a fantastic game here out of both sides. And Nocturna and Dotspy did give the other team a run for their money. They really got great trades in the early game. They just didn't quite know where to go from there. And that's just a bit of a shame. It's hard on this map. And I think they kind of got a bit too laser focused on the middle. If they would have realized that they could make it wide after trading so well early on, and could have gone for Ivan, and then make the enemy pay for buying the artillery and not being able to play wide and not having enough target saturated areas, then this could have worked pretty well. But they focused on Anna, they focused on the center, and left Ivan there, and that meant that they never could get enough of a tick, and they also gave the enemy an easy time finding targets for artillery.
Yeah, I think there is the huge mental factor of not wanting to open up new fronts, not wanting to take too many risks against a team that consists of a Wano League multiple times champion and their top 2v2 partner. And I think the Ivan, the kind of the shadow army defending Ivan is the reputation. It is the fear that even though there were units around there, and even though there was potential and there was time, you just feel just a little bit too intimidated. You feel just a little bit too afraid of shaking the boat, of making a mistake, of driving into some well thought out plan. So you just never test that. You never test that line. You never push that front line, and that could have been something that a counterattack up there, if it had been pre-planned, if there was some Nocturna's troops or Dotspy's troops, a few extra units, and just send them there and see if Procomi has to move their units, or if it throws a spanner into their well thought out plans. But reputation is a defense, and in this case, I think it was literally just fear and uncertainty, and wanting to keep a solid front line to never contest it.
Yeah, and GGVP here, Dotspy still coming out with a lot of kills, but yeah, I feel like it could have been even more. So they still played a fantastic game here, Nocturna and Dotspy keeping up a decent amount of KD, but obviously in the end having to throw in a lot of forces there as well. Procomi actually with the lowest KD of them all here, but yeah, sacrificing all for the greater good. And yeah, really, really well played game here by both sides. I'm excited for game number 2. This was fantastic 2v2 action. This is also where 2v2 really deviates from 1v1, and I love that. Like the interaction between the two divisions, like trying to find a good fusion there. And then something like those artillery salvos, like those artillery parks, that's not something we ever see in 1v1. So it's quite exciting to see it here. It also is a bit cancer if you have to play against it, but it is pretty fun from the cast's perspective, and also brings new things that people will have to tackle. And for example, that M1A1 not moving in far enough away, like that's something that you're just not used to as a 1v1 player. So Nocturna failed to do so and got punished for it a couple too many times. And yeah, I'm excited for game number 2. Let's get over there, guys.
I mean, I was literally so that game was so intensive. I forgot about the fact that we got another one of these.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun as Nocturna and Dotspy on the packed side in that one. So here we go, everybody. One more game. As we have Nocturna and Dotspy on the left. And on the right side, we have Procomi and Skiff once more. And really interesting matchup here, as I have no idea how some of these divisions got through ban. Like, it's the third game in a row where we say 8th US, and I have no idea how 8th US survives the pick and ban in this 2v2 tournament. Maybe people are too focused on its 1v1 capabilities, where, yeah, we explained it. The Recon tab is holding it back, but in 2v2, it's one of the top 7 divisions, absolutely. It has fantastic artillery, it has a good air tab, it has great tanks, and you just want to ban all the M1A1 divisions, like 11th ACAF, 3rd US, and then ban the other heavy NATO divisions with 4th Divise, 5th Panzer, 1st Armored, and then maybe 2nd Panzer Grenadier, maybe 1st Canadian or so as the 7th bands. But all the M1A1 division, they have to go. So, yeah, I don't know why people let them go through. And on the other side, we have a division that also shouldn't really get through with 119th tank. Like, in 2v2, heavy tanks are so strong, because you can get them the support that in 1v1 you always struggle to get around them. In 2v2, that's not that hard. So we have 119th with 4th ZMAC versus 8th US, and then its smaller brother, its lighter, faster, more lean brother, the 9th US, coming around as well. So this is going to be a fancy matchup here.
I think ninth US is a girl. I'm getting girl vibes from it. Yeah, I'd say it's a sister division. I'm calling it now. I don't accept that it's a brother. Anyways, yeah, Pro Comi playing 8th here, and we're already seeing the Pro Comi's the way that Pro Comi plays this traditionally and has been maximum fire support, maximum number of units. Do not engage. Build engagements. Get the numbers. Don't go in. Don't overextend. Only fight the battles where you have the biggest number of units. And we're seeing Pro Comi open with 0 vet mech rifles and 0 vet A1 Abrams. And for any other player, I would be immediately calling this out, but he's the one that actually gets this done. And Nocturna is going to be countering this with 119th TO55, kind of a mech blob all in. And Dotspy is actually sending in a tactical Honker Rus to give a little bit of an slightly early advantage, maybe take out the LRS before it gets done. Gets there. Heavy investment into Rasberg BMP2s, of course, Tunguska, and up north with the Dotspy against Goof, we're getting a lot of AGLs, a lot. We get engineers, FAVs, a bunch of recon, of course, with the autocannon armed recon helicopters being able to do great work. Of course, Honker Ruses, some of the greatest shots in the Polish army are firing those 50 cal machine guns. So with only 4 health, those 58Cs might actually go down with some bad luck. And Nievosh, of course, do have Strelas. The Dotspy's fighting plan seems to be to get immediately into
Honker Rus, get it? And yeah, TO55s and TADU, TADBVK, like this is a heavy plop there coming in. 2 TO55s to eat the first couple of shots in front, and then the TADUs and BVs to deal the real damage. So this push is scary in itself, but there are enough defensive units here for Procomi that I feel like that can hold with good Bradleys and what is this ATGM vehicle? Is it an M109? Yeah, M901, and an M1A1. So there are decent enough TOW2s around here that holding this absolutely is viable. It's not going to be easy. Meanwhile, I think there should be a slight advantage in the north for 9th US in the early game. But once the game goes a bit longer and the T-55 ASs, for example, with those rockets in the town can really go to town, I think 4th has an easier time long game, so 4th just should stay on the defense there. And yeah, currently that attack in the south here, that is really where the scary bit is for the blue side. If this attack can't be stopped, if this goes through, then this can already lead to a big tick of +4 that puts a real big timer on all your strategies here as the blue team.
Yeah, the zero vet, the weakness of the zero vet strategy is that if the enemy just starts attacking you, if you don't manage to get those engagements up, you will end up, as we can see with the Mech Rifles Dragon, immediately getting stunned down and made incapable. The A1 Abramses and the CEVs are currently under the support of the MUT CP, and but with the TO-55s moving up north there.
Ooh, A10 coming in, but there is an SU-27 in the sky. Iwalk gets a hit though, pushes it away. Ooh, this is big. Pro Commies A10 can come in now, and that could swing this whole situation easily around. Even with a frontal hits, it can deal good damage. 2 frontal hits would be enough. F-15 is out here for the second SU-27. SU-27 immediately gets hit, gets pushed back. 9th helping out. Tunguska pushes back the F-15, so that one won't get any damage, but the A-10 is around here. Tunguska at least can deal some damage there. Bradley goes down. Tunguska pushes back the A-10 for now, but it can come around one more time. Tunguska has to be careful. A-10 finds a shot here. Doesn't find a kill. Does find the kill with the second missile. TDU not showing frontal armor there. Big mistake. A-10 goes down, but getting the TDU kill. And that is big enough here. F-16C getting pushed back. F-16C cluster coming in for the Tunguska. T-80 BVK on its own there. Oh, this southern situation is safe. Tunguska getting clustered. Did move though, so it does survive. Might be able to get the F-16 in return. Does get the kill there. That's big. So big losses for both sides. Nocturna has to fall back. Has to play defensively in the south for now. And we have to get back to the north because there's a big town fight going on there.
Yeah, the Sapelsi Sturmovi have been doing good work here, and they pushed just a little bit too far enough to pursue the wounded engineers. The Vet-1 and the RPO-equipped forces managing to beat over the zero-vet satchel charge units. And with a bunch of these supporting vehicles, Scott 2s with the 50 cals, T-55s, of course, great AG damage, Neovoshes with their guns, and even the BMP-1s. Everything here is has been controlled quite well by Dotspy. Currently, there is not a massive amount of artillery, not a massive amount of bombers, no rocket artillery out here. So stacking your units close by like this, it is valid. It is risky also, but I really commend Dotspy for doing it. I think it's a great way to try to counter the sort of a very wide and recon-heavy playstyle of 9th, and just trying to get those strong 9th infantry units, light rifles, law, just trying to get them by swarming a bunch of vehicles at them at the same time. But yeah, down south here, Nocturna's defensive lines are worryingly thin, and with some reinforcements coming in and even 3 scouts recon units, it's pretty clear what Pro Commie is planning to do next.
Yeah, the T-80 BVK gets supported by another T-80U. Tunguska will get at least some supply from the Ural. BMP-2 there could be resupplied as well. So there is a defensive line getting into position again here, but yeah, Nocturna will need more here. And at the same time, Dotspy now fully committed to the fight in the north. The T-55ASs, they can do a lot of work here. It's a bit of a shame that there are not more supply vehicles flowing in here to keep them constantly firing, constantly reloading. 2 more of them coming in, and they just can on their own walk you through this town there. The enemy can't really do much about it. You will get hits with them. They have short aim time, relatively short reload time as well. So you're gonna have some trouble holding against it. Aito will find a shot towards the Ural, but loses line of sight there. Tunguska has to get the hell out of there as well. Ural able to disengage there. TDU coming in, BMP-1's coming in. So Nocturna has to focus on getting that defense up itself. But Dotspy now also bringing a rocket launcher in the north. The WC 7085 with a lot of 122mm rockets here. Aiming up on the enemy. T-55AS reloaded, aiming up for the enemy as well. And this is going to be a tough fight here for Scoof for now. But Scoof does bring the counterpart, the mine clearing troll of the Americans. So that's the same as the T-55AS from the use case. So both sides just going to completely demine the town, aka just blowing up civilian buildings.
Yeah, I mean, just to be sure, you can always rebuild. Human life is not replaceable, and yeah, Sapersi light rifles law taking in some hits. Another one coming in for the Piekota Schmeck SVD, brutally, quickly removing them out. And but right here, Dotspy should probably start being a little bit more aggressive with the vehicles here. I mean, this is the Sapersi are still pushing through here, and there are only soft targets.
Yeah.
Just the Scots alone are enough to fight a lot of this, though with an Ito hitting at Merida front armor, pushing it away and removing that important piece of map control.
Oh, LGB bomber came around in the south, got the TADU. Oh, the southern line for Nocturna is starting to get really thin here. Procomi finding the value once more, finding the Tunguska as well. This is absolutely disastrous here right now for Nocturna. Nocturna will need to hope that there is no way for Procomi to push for the next 2-3 minutes, because he will need to get the defensive line. And okay, Procomi doesn't want to push, but Procomi is going to turn up the heat nonetheless, as 2 MR10s enter the battlefield, and they just gonna be reckless here the whole time as well. So I feel like Nocturna is on the timer down south, and Dotspy has to get something done in the north here now.
Yeah, this is Procomi has like ancient ancestral memories of fighting against T-Man back when T-Man played 119th, maybe as the only player in the game who did back in the days. And the 119th being the division that requires you to always have correct decision making, considering everything is so expensive and everything is so specialized. And just the fact that the LGB is out there now with the double M110, this is like a premier counter to 119th. All these positions are just suitably. They pre-aimed the position that the T80 BVK was going. Now the T80 BVK is moving back, fortunately, realizing maybe that the scouts, actually spotting the scouts, probably that can spot itself. So narrowly dodging that mega salvo. Standard Motorcycle BMP might be
But
able to
it's
find
immediately pre-aiming the next spot where it's going, so that the ADBVK has to keep moving. Meanwhile, ATGM's flying towards it, but they get smoked off. TADU now able to shoot ATGMs the other way around, and 1A1 on the fire there. Does get stressed quite a bit. Artillery lands off target, so that's not of consequence. But at the same time, Scots and T-55s finally start get moving in the north, and even the Scots here are quite annoying for the 9th US, because they don't have a lot of stuff there with good long-range infantry AT to really deal with that. And the Ito is not that cost-efficient against those light vehicles, so Ito here might get overrun. Lacks a bit of recon here right now, the Scott Blob, but Specialnies are moving with it. Saperji's moving on the flanks. 152mm artillery, the T-55AS, like all this is around to just keep on blowing up the town in the north. And I like that positioning of Dotspy, but it still needs to go a bit further to actually threaten getting a take online here.
Yeah, Dotspy seems to be maybe not taking complete advantage of the momentum that they just had. Now even more reinforcements, more COTS, more Piekota SVDs, more T-55s coming in. Strong unit combinations in this moment, but they are also allowing the supply and for the extra ITOs and the extra M60s coming for.
Counterfire here from the M109s, trying to find the T-55ASs. Good movement there by Dotspy, only losing at ZU-23. Yeah, engineers here will go down eventually, but they are getting killed off slower than the replacement rate. So for now, there is more stuff for Scoof that gets into the way of this push. Whilst in the south, the danger is pretty high. SU-27s flying in the rear. F-15 and F-16C do the same on the other side. MR-10s hit the Tunguska. Oh, likely gonna kill the Tunguska. 2 TADUs on the battlefield again. There is still only one A1 in the center, one in the south, so the forces there are still relatively limited for Procomi. The TADU with one vet absolutely outclassed the M1A1. It's 2018 versus 2119, and the one vet making a big difference, plus a good ATGM on top of this as well. F-16 seat gets pushed back. Got scouts and mech rifle dragon here gonna get killed off. But the MR10s are going to start aiming again. Aiming for the Mazda. Mazda got spotted there, so artillery likely gonna go down. Whilst in the same time, Northern push tries to push further, but mine clearing tools there did deal a good amount of damage. Picotta SVD coming in, Scots and T-55A coming in here on the other side. As the push through the town is attempted once more. AGL did stop some engineers there. And yeah, it's maybe a bit too static, the attempt here from Dotspy. And the artillery usage here of Dotspy also not quite on point here. Not as on point as the one of the other side right now. Scoofs hits a bit better. But
yeah, a lot of idle time for packed artillery here, a lot of idle time for a lot of packed units here. Now Nocturno has managed to get a blob up. The Kaya Warrior is out there, but the Kaya Warrior is now run out of ammunition. It doesn't have anything for the moment, so the 3 tanks, 2 T-ATUs, and the BRM with the Tunguska on the behind here might be able to engage 1v1. Spetsnaz GRU are in a close range. They could have actually...
Oh, the MR10 fires all right on the Tunguska though. It gets the Tunguska that just came in. That's such a disaster. The Kiowa Warrior goes down on the ground though, so it is not completely the end of the world. Tanks get a kill there, but the other Tunguska down to 1 hit point is still around. A10 is out on the battlefield. Eaglas coming in now. As the A10 is lurking here once more. Ihawk is around. SU-27 diving deep. Has to be careful there. Yeah, gets hit again. Gets a hit against the A10 though. Pushes that out, so that allows the tanks to maybe get moving again. Ihawk does survive. The tanks could push a bit further. T-55s die in the north. And yeah, the artillery here, a good bit too much idle time for my liking, but trying to take out all the ITOs. T-55ASs should just open up fire onto all the buildings there. Just ripping apart the buildings and making this straight line of sight could actually work out with all the vehicles you get there. But interesting sight. Sapersi Stomovi going down. Rocket artillery gets the CUCV most likely. Nope. Doesn't get the ground fired Hellfire. Ito goes down though. Good fire there. Whilst in the south.
Oh, another Kiowa Warrior is getting in. It misses the first shot against the ATU. Second shot going in. And it takes a side shot, the ATU. Third one going in. Missing. Fourth one missing also.
Yeah,
this is Kiowa. Oh.
Now the side shot against the TADU. Really Nocturna not quite on top of that micro there. That's just not supposed to happen. The one against the A10 in the south. Then a hit with the LGB. That obviously you can't really avoid that easily. But getting another side shot here again from a Kiowa Warrior that you were absolutely able to see. That's just really painful and something that you obviously can't allow to happen when you play War at 19, when you play around that super heavy tank blob. The tank blob is still around though, is still doing damage. I would like to see one of the ground-fired Hellfire units moving down here, but Procomi so far playing it on his own. Kiowa Warrior trying to get involved again, misses the first missile. Second missile does go in, but loses tracking just before the target as well. Firing max range. M1A1 coming in.
Oh, they're gonna... Oh, the side shot! Oh, no, not a side shot, but 2 shots in.
M1A1 really, really low. Is able to disengage. The TAD PVK ran out of fuel there. Oh, this is bad as well. MR10s haven't realized yet. They still went after an Igla. But there's no supply truck anywhere near. There is a Ural now coming in. And Procomi should realize that relatively soon. That this thing is just not moving anymore. Meanwhile, in the north, the fights with the artillery is still happening. And the mine clearing tool way more active, it feels like, on Scoof's side. Taking out another Picotta SVD. The TAD, the 55ASs not firing as many of their rounds so far. One of them just standing in the rear. Seems like one of them might have died. And the other one now fires another one. That at least takes out Light Rifle Dragon. But
Though artillery taking out an Eyehawk, so little victories coming here for Pact as well.
TDU went down again, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think there was another TADU that just died up there. Or it might still be the old one from the guild feed. I don't think so, though.
The Masters are too accurate. They if they just had slight dispersal, they would have gotten the ITVs as well. They're massively overkill and massively accurate as well. The attack up north here, like
cluster plane
Temple
trying to
attack.
come in. M1A1 gets taken out by the out of fuel TADBVK. M110 still haven't realized it. Still don't fire on top of it. Cluster F16 might do the job, though. Yes, it does do the job. SU-27 not able to stop it. And yeah, the forces here of Nocturna once more getting reduced. He does take out a good couple of other units on the other side, though. 1M1A1 and so on. So, and a lot of infantry got taken down there from Pro-Commy. So Pro-Commy's force is not strong enough for an attack right now. I think it is a bit of a stalemate there again. But at the same time in the north, it's also a stalemate there. Dotspy hasn't gotten the mobile play on. Gets a supply unit now with the ARM-70, but no kill on the enemy artillery. And his unit's just standing there, not doing anything. Like, that's not what you want to have happen with these Scots. You want to have them fire on enemy engineers and just try to do something, as they currently just really are completely idle. A10 coming around. Osa is here though, so that one should get out soon. A lot of BMP-1s coming in. Tier 55 Ace moving in once more here as well. The ASs trying to find some shots. One more moving forward. Okay, there is still 3 of them, but they just aren't kept fully reloaded all the time. Like, you need to come in with the next supply truck the moment your others hit the front line. And that's not what's happening. So the AVLM mine clearing tool M60 variants on the other side still doing a bit more work, but the firepower base is better for red side, so I still think Dotspy has the better force there. They just need to use it. Good mine clearing tool hit this time around. Engineers get completely shredded. Picotta SVD, great infantry as well. Belts in the south. Ooh, good push here with the TADUs, but running dangerously low on fuel here once more. And you don't want to be standing target when the M110s are around.
Yeah, I mean, the M110s getting an indirect kill by constantly forcing these tanks to move around is it is great. I love to see it. I mean, it's the fact that Nocturna is holding steady against Pro-Commy here, it's like it is already doing great. Like the fact that Nocturna is pre-preparing, is countering, has the recon, can do the micro, even though of course every once in a while there are mistakes because this is Pro-Commy that we're talking about here. And now Nocturna once again has gotten a bunch of infantry out here. And Motostrelki here perform quite well against the zero-vet mech rifles. Even the 7-man Motostrelki in a fair fight do get the slight edge on the mech rifles. This is because, of course, the cohesion damage that happens lowers the mech rifles' capabilities. But then again, the mech rifles are also supported by a bunch of 50 cals, and the Nocturna's BMP-1s are not as practical as fire support, though. 3 T-80UDs currently against 2 zero-vet M1 Abramses, 2 heavy artillery pieces, a tow Cobras, of course, ITBs, but still, T-80UDs, they are performing, they have the stats, and they have the missiles even, so they have the range advantage occasionally.
Oh, F-16 cluster coming in for one, though. Oh, it does miss, I think. Yeah. Fully whiffs there, but not enough AA around anymore. Tunguska coming in again. Niwatch moving around, but there is F-16s, there's F-15s here. Irehawks protecting all of this. Dotspy getting a couple of millimeters closer in the north again towards the enemy zone here, as there is maybe a bit of a struggling time here right now. M60 National Guards not performing as well. Maybe as hoped.
The Mazda Pro-Commy's recon helicopter recon fucking destroys the Mazda in the truck. No.
Yeah,
and now the Tunguska
was on one hit point. Tunguska gets spotted there by the recon as well. 2 more Tunguskas coming up. Meanwhile, at the front line, big fight. Seals the GLH gets killed off in the north. The ground launched Hellfire. Whilst the TADU versus M1 battles start to fight out again. TADU gets a hit. M1 on Zero Vet does miss. ITV with a Toe 2 gets involved, doesn't get hit by the UD. UD doesn't hit it, and oh no, the LGB comes in again. SC-27 trying to aim on it, doesn't get a hit. Seaplane gets only hit once, and another T-80 UD gets shut down there by one of those planes. Good usage of the planes. IHawk under fire by artillery, but this SC-27 just getting suicided in there. 2 big losses here. Mi-24 moving around the flank. Meanwhile, Picotta Smack getting hit in the by artillery in the north, but a lot of firepower here, pushing in the final couple meters here now towards the zone. They are on the outskirts, and the units of Scoof are melting here right now. So Scoof is in a lot of trouble. The National Guard M60s were what was supposed to be the counterattack force here, I believe, and it just completely failed. The Conquerors and the T-55s here doing a good job. Laws not really able to hold off the T-55s, and the infantry comes in, the rocket artillery comes in on top of this, M60s gets taken out. This is a complete disaster up north, but at the same time, forces of blue side, a bit more numerous there. The air support for the bottom, where there was a couple of Scoof planes as well, did buy some time there, but there are more zones in the north, and this front line looks insanely small right now for the blue team.
Yeah, and 7 more T-55s coming in here for the final breakthrough and against Scoof's forces. Despite everything, Dotspy has managed to keep this up long enough, has managed to push through, has managed to grind through.
Good hit with the bomber, getting the flanking ITOs there as well. This is going to be a really tough hold here now for Scoof. Some Engineer Dragons still holding around. The 7 T-55s are just absolutely brutal there. There's 3 M60s on the other side, and they are the slightly better tank maybe, but they are National Guard, so that already reduces their combat efficiency a bit. And oh! The cluster only gets 1. That could have been an absolute disaster.
Still my heart. Kiowa Warrior up now. They're pushing. Kiowa Warriors are getting on top of the M60s. They're almost on machine gun range. Engineer Dragons have managed to basically point out that there is no infantry screening force. There's no the recon is not in position. The T-80s are holding this tree line on their own. These are veterans in one unit, so against a fair fight against the M1A1s on similar cohesion, they will get the first shots off, and the shots are more effective, as we can see. One of the
cluster F-16 is around though. There is an A-10 coming in as well. They need to smoke off if they still have smoke. No smoke coming. Smoke now coming out. Okay. It was in time. Oh, the Mi-83 supply helicopter gets shot down though. The helicopter, Mi-24 in the rear, is in trouble as well. The Tunguska goes down. There's no Su-27 anymore. There's only the heavy tanks. So the south is collapsing. So Dotspy needs to move faster. Nocturna would have to scream right now in the chat to tell Dotspy to just get it going. Dotspy hasn't moved the CV up yet. Dotspy is moving the T-55s forward, but isn't in the zone yet, and this is a big problem. The T-55 ASs still need to get rid through a couple of light rifles that made it into the zone, and Dotspy maybe moving a bit slow. T-80U goes down, A-10 gets the next hit out there in the south. 14 minutes remaining. Su-27s find the kill on the A-10, but the T-80Us, they are in trouble. Only half a hit point here basically, and it goes down to the Tow Cobra. T-80U coming around from the side, doesn't find the hit with the first shot, gets stunned down. Mi-24 goes down as well. Nocturna has basically nothing left down here. T-80UD gets stunned down and killed off as well. Too much stuff moving around there, and this zone is falling. So now you need 2 zones in the north. Now you need Dotspy to really get it going, and Dotspy is getting a good bombing run there, and Dotspy just kind of needs to A-click at this point, but isn't A-clicking the infantry forward, so the T-55s have a bit of a tough time here right now. The ground-launched Hellfires just got so many kills there, as there was no infantry screening in front of it, and this is a big problem now. The CV is still not in there. Dotspy is winning this fight, but it seems like they are not winning it fast enough right now, because the CV is on the way for the south, coming in here from the rear for Pro-Commie. There is nothing here to hold this for Nocturna. Nocturna has lost that side completely, so Dotspy needs to win the northern side. There are more zones there. There is more space there to gain, but you need to actually get around for it. Light Rifle Dragon get the kill there. Seedplane gets the Osa. Osa's important against the helicopters here as well. And the ground-launched Hellfire is just doing a really, really good job there. T-55 ASs, the only remaining T-55s, all 8 ones have been killed off. Oh no, there's 2 more remaining, but 6 out of 8 still going down. This is a big problem. A couple of Meridas even shot down as well. The infantry is in the town, but that's about it right now. And Pro-Commie maybe could even now bring more units in for the north. Yeah, Pro-Commie is starting to bring an M1 Abrams here for the north, and this is kind of the thing that seals it, because Pro-Commie has just way too much in the south, and there is not enough kills here for Dotspy in the north. Dotspy, I feel like, really not pushing quite hard enough. There were a couple of times where there was just nothing left there, and you could have just steamrolled it and taken away the combined arms, and they were a bit too hesitant maybe. Obviously, always tough in city fights. You don't quite know where the next corner is. You don't have the God's View that we have. But with Nocturna losing it, I think Nocturna should have called out a gamble there. Like, if you know you lose your side, you know your teammate has to win theirs, and then you just have to call them out for going for the Hail Mary. There is no second place on Wano. There is only winner and loser, so you have to risk it to get there.
The LGB bomber has gained a veterancy by destroying so many super expensive tanks, taking out just I believe the last T80UD out here with only the leader BVK left, and even that is really just kind of a technicality here. Maybe trying to make sure that Pro-Commie does not immediately move all the forces up north into the uniform zone, which is not really defended at all. Dotspy really had there were some moments with just a little bit more aggression, but as you said, it is fighting a lot of shadows, and overextension. Overextension is something you always have to be afraid of. Overextensions, they lurk behind every corner, especially using weapons such as the fast-firing Law AT weapons, which can just quickly bang, bang, bang stun your tanks, even the big ones, the dragons that have 18
double
pen.
kill, SU-22! Getting both M1A1s. Oh, that bomber hit! Oh, really, really good as well. Those SU-24s and 22s just getting absolute devastation there. Nocturna and Dotspy coming in with really good hits. And there is still a chance if they get to Juliet. That's a +3 zone in the rear. Uniform is in danger here as well. But there is just so little blue here. But there's not a lot of moving red units around anymore either. The T-55s maybe just died a bit too much. And it's going to be tough. There is supposed to be a CV here somewhere, right? Yeah, there is one CV leader from Dotspy, but it isn't moving in right now. And yeah, there's just so little vision there. There's so little blue, but there's so little red as well. That town fight was just brutal, and Pro-Commie being Pro-Commie just made it an absolute pain for Nocturna here in the south, and keeps on getting great kills here, pushing forward, and Nocturna now just kind of completely out of it. So Dotspy has to keep it up, but the +4 here now already ticked away quite far, so it has to be a +6 in the rear zone here. And yeah, those airplanes maybe have to come around one more time, but there are F-15s, there are F-16s on the other side. So I don't think it will be allowed to do that another time.
Yeah, and there are also reinforcements. I mean, 8th Infantry still has a bunch of infantry here coming in on as well as supply. So in the end, just not even a bridge too far, just a neighborhood too far, just a few blocks too far, really. I think Dotspy. I mean, Nocturna always had a technical chance against Pro-Commie here, but in my mind, of course, we all know the universal constant laws which guide our lives, and one of those things is that when it comes to that kind of position-based, very precise like tank fighting with small amounts of expensive units. Pro Commie, by the time I saw that that double M110 and saw the repeated usage of the Kiowa warriors in just every single time when Nocturna was getting just a little bit too close to breaking through, there was always an immediate punish from the Kiowa warriors. And they I'm not gonna say that Nocturna never had a chance, but Nocturna, of course, was going against like the worst thing in the worst position, and a very one of the only divisions, as you pointed out, you can ban all the divisions that have tanks that can fight the T-80UDs, and they didn't. And where it comes to Dot Spy's fighting completely different, the absolute opposite, the numbers based, efficiency based, just trying to get enough points, enough rounds downstream. That is something that could have, of course, always been done better by having the God vision, knowing when to push, and the more. You just look at Nocturna's trading in the end there. That's pretty brutal, but the actual like skill issues with Northern attack by Dot Spy really were just about microing more. Just you have artillery, use them more. You have the launchers, use more of them, and just there were these moments when pressure stopped being applied, even though there was so many units for the Polish, so many vehicles, light vehicles, expendable vehicles, just sitting out there, not really doing anything, and just sacrificing or risking a Scott unit to get another target for your artillery could have probably been the right choice in many of those small situations. But then that pressure didn't get applied, and the really quickly reinforcing 9th US forces could transport just another wave of frontline troops to just slow down the push just a little bit further.
Yeah,
a great game nonetheless, extremely enjoyable to both watch and cast. And I really enjoyed both the 9th and 4th doing their dueling coffin launcher gameplay here. A lot of potential here in the 2v2 spectating space, I think.
Yeah, also never push in the south, guys. Like that push in the south that Nocturna did in the beginning, it always fails. It always fails. I have seen it, I think, work 1 out of 10 times so far. You always think like, oh yeah, if we push there early, we have the +2 lead on this flank, the enemy is going to struggle. But it never works. It's always that 500 meters too far, it feels like. Too deep into the enemy space. And no matter which side you're on, it just never works. I have tried it myself in 2v2 tournaments, and I have been punished for it. Even if you double invest onto that side, it feels always like it falls apart, and it fell apart here against Pro Commie. I think Nocturna and Dot Spy should have played more defensively down south, get a bigger tank club up, play from there, and then let Dot Spy do the great work they did in the north, and do that maybe a bit slower then, and a bit more methodical, and play that way. But if you push that, and then you play against Pro Commie, you overextend a bit, you get punished, and then your combined arms just never recovers, and that's exactly what happened here. And GGVP to Pro Commie and Scoof, and I don't want to see them in the tournament, so please somebody else take them out, because I don't want to have to face them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm really scared. Like, I would be scared about Dot Spy and Nocturna as well, guys. Not gonna lie. Like, those guys are really good as well. But Pro Commie and Scoop, oh my goodness, what a team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Frankly, Protoss, I mean, you're good at the game, but I think you could maybe give the Dot Spy, you and Stahl could give a Dot Spy and Nocturna team a pretty nice run for their money. But I will hope I will hope to see your brave attempts of out microing Pro Commie, who has already calculated your next 5 moves and is already buying the forces to counter them.
No, I will follow the way how Procomi was beaten in League before. Rush, and no other way. If you have to rush him, you have to beat him there. It's hard to beat him there still, but
You cannot you cannot win with intelligence, so you have to win with stupidity.
Exactly. So yeah, thanks to all of you for watching. Gonna send you over to Zoomerreal, who is playing a bit of EU4, and I'm really hyped for EU5. So yeah, let's enjoy a bit of more EU4 before we get to the next level of Paradox Map Painter, and see you all next time.
Today is the anniversary of the Vienna, the Holy League beating the Turks at Vienna in 1683.